Hey, pseudonym. Hello everyone, I'm the Nerdy Fool and welcome back to Rogue Trader. When we left off last time, we had just dealt with all of Kiava Gamma and then had a cutscene where we found out we've got a strange machine spirit on our ship, potentially an AI, that is named Nomos, that we want to learn more about. And we now need to also get back to Dargonus to have our official ceremony to make us the official Rogue Trader. I think that's basically what we have going on. If we look at our quests, we've still got finding the Gene Stealer cult, but we don't have any real clues on that, so that's ongoing. We have to go to Dargonus to get our ceremony. This is about Nomos. We need to talk to Idira, Abelard, various other officers. I'm probably going to do that before we head out, just so I can see what's going on. I'm probably going to do the rounds, talk to everyone, just in case anyone has had anything new to say. And yeah, raise a development to the highest level. We did also get the... We finished the quest of finding the bits of information that was left on Janus and Kiava. I think it was Janus. Two of our worlds that Theodore had left behind. And I didn't see that that went anywhere, but the quest is gone. I think we got it originally from this machine, so I might try clicking on there and see if we can interact with anything. I don't know. While we're here, let's talk to our people. Abelard.
Lord Captain.
Do the words Epitaph Incident N872-04 or Tech Blight mean anything to you? They are connected to Theodora somehow. That might be what we're talking about with the data that we retrieved from Theodora's caches.
No, definitely not. No, I don't recall anything like that.
For a moment, Abelard's eyes go blank, as if he has turned his attention inward. Then he blinks twice and says in a tone of surprise, "Okay, I must take my leave until next time, Senshaw."
Lord Captain.
Heinrichs?
To what do I owe this visit?
Nothing. Who else do we have? Prodigious. Solomon, not long ago, I took part in a celebration in Jai's honor. Yes. Would your lordship care to learn the circumstances of your return to the ship? I can assure you that the... Oh, right. Because we woke up in bed with Jai. Right. I can assure you that the landing deck was damaged minimally. Mistress Hidari escorted you to your quarters rather boldly, touching the person of the rogue trader, and in response to the crew's attempts to help you, you endeavored to demonstrate your proficiency in several Ifrit swear words that, according to you, Mistress Hidari had taught you earlier. Regarding the incident that took place on Footfall, Liege Tokara has already let us know that the persons affected have no claims against you, and thank your lordship for the honor of witnessing how the rogue trader and his charming paramour amuse themselves. I don't know if paramour is the right term for our relationship with Jai, but sure. Can you recall anything unusual about Theodora's travels? Do the words Epitaph Incident N872-04 and Tech Blight ring a bell? All of Lady Theodora's journeys could be considered unusual. Her odysseys were always audacious. As for the words you mentioned, none of them sound familiar to me as far as I can tell. Except maybe the incident. I recall coming across this word in transmissions several times. I think it was repeated by the former engine seer, the one who perished during Kunrad Votvir's uprising. I mean, incident is not an unusual word to have showing up in correspondence. He was describing it as the incident, something quite remarkable. Apparently at some point in the past, the entire ship was hit by a massive system failure. All systems stopped responding for 1/5 of a second. Most of the crew, including myself, as I was likely on board at the time, did not notice anything strange, but tech priests are sensitive to such things. This is all I can tell you, Lord Captain. I wish I could help you more. Interesting. So, is Nomos the result of that quest line? Because if we're talking about an incident where something weird happened, causing the entire ship to be hit by a massive system failure, and then everything came back up 1/5 of a second later, that sounds like a Nomos thing. Have the Vox Spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Of course not. They never do. I don't know why that dialogue option exists. We'll go down here and talk to the doctor, even though he never has anything to say. Perfect. Helmsman? Lord Captain, Master Helmsman Raver at your service. Does the word epitaph mean anything to you, or perhaps Incident N872-04 or Tech Blight? Yeah, she was latching onto just the word incident, which is not a uncommon word. Incident N872-04 would be a lot more useful if they remembered that. It's something to do with Theodora's travels, rather extraordinary travels at that. Can't say they do, Lord Captain. Doesn't ring any bells. Then again, remembering all the places Lady Thor went his brow furrows. Epitaph incident. We've always had heaps of incidents happening on board, but through my implants, I feel at one with the ship, and I sense that, and I don't know when it happened exactly, it started behaving differently, became more responsive, livelier. Yes, livelier is exactly the word. And when you said epitaph and incident, it just dawned on me. Pardon my bungled report, Lord Captain, but that's all I've got to say on that front. At some point, the ship started behaving more alive. That's got to be Nomos. Okay. Cool. Lord Captain. Marver acknowledges you with a nod and turns away. But no one remembers exactly when or why. So there wasn't anything obvious that brought Nomos on board. But people are recalling
Greetings.
an event occurring that stood out to them.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
And we will continue to not have
I've
conversation.
enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
Nothing from Montag. That surprises me because he's the guy kind of in charge of maintenance. So you would think he would have recognized something off when Nomos came on board. But I guess not. Sarbak, do you have anything? Nope. High factotum? Also no. Jai is too new. She won't have anything related to that.
You are spoiling me with the splendor of your presence again, Shireen. Have you decided to treat your soul to the fruits of my eloquence? Or do you wish to discuss business with the newly appointed owner of a Mercatum Tabula Officiale?
This line, just get off my ship. Most of the others are like,
I have no doubt you will.
we have no need to work together anymore. That's just very aggressive. Adira, you're specifically called out in the quest. When Adira sees you, her lips curl into a smile and she nods at something over your shoulder. Epitaph, Incident N872-04, Tech Blight. Do these words mean anything to you? Perhaps your abilities can tell you something.
They mean nothing to me. They're just words. A whisper, so quiet I barely caught it. Like a feather landing on a pile of down. Something about damned ambitions, antiquity, terrible antiquity. And chance. Chance through it all.
Suddenly Adira breaks off and winces. She brings her hands to her temple. She winces again. Antiquity and chance? I'm betting that Theodora found an AI, knowing that they're illegal and dangerous, brought it on board and hooked it up to the ship in the hopes that it would give her some sort of edge. I'm betting that's what's going on. Nomos is in fact an AI. He's gotta be.
Oh, now I have a headache. And the stupid bloody whisper wasn't much help.
She falls silent and looks at you in surprise.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Oh, we do have a quest to talk to Nomos about the caches. Okay, yeah. So Nomos is directly related to that mission. It seemed like a very side mission, but Nomos feels very important. So I'm surprised there.
Take heed, Nemo. Our blessed Domin honors us with a visit. The one who delivered this ark from the curse of your existence.
I must take my leave.
May the Undying One shroud your footsteps from the faithless.
We're going to continue talking to everyone even after Adira in case anyone has something to say. Because it's been a while since we've done the rounds. But I'm guessing not, because I'm usually pretty good about talking to people affected by major quest lines.
Science knows all, comprehends all.
Have you studied immense neurologmetic yet?
I have destroyed it.
Pascal stares at you inscrutably and says in a soft voice, "Well, that's good." A slight telltale rattle in Pascal's voice makes him sound unconvincing. You... Okay, so you have not destroyed it. But you're lying to me. I don't personally care whether you've destroyed it or not, but I'm not cool with the lying. You're lying.
This statement is true. I am yet to settle into a definitive course of action. I am running a spot diagnostic on the memory of the heretic Demens. Even though purity protocols stipulate that his blasphemous knowledge must be eradicated, I am not drawn toward forbidden information, but only to data concerning the blessed amass.
A sigh-like sound comes from the Vox synthesizer. Yeah, we've run into quite a few heretical tech priests tied to Amarnat, and it makes me wonder, was Amarnat actually a heretic? Or we know his views were in some ways considered heretical to the major tech priest organization, but not enough that they actually said no. But it seemed like there was a division there. But now having a bunch of like chaos worshipping tech priests who are all using the same call sign as our tech priest, all of them seem to be tied to Amarnat. I feel like there's something wrong about Amarnat, and when we're going to get to the end of this quest line, he's going to be like the head cultist or something. I mean, we don't know yet, but that's the feeling I'm getting with how this quest line is going. Have you found out anything?
The success has been partial. Demens Haneman's identity has been confirmed. The widespread influence of paranoid motivations is observable in his cognitive processes, which is what seems to have caused him to break his vows. However, extensive regions of his memory have been damaged by forbidden technologies and are, for now, defying decryption.
That's cool. Yeah, where he's got forbidden technologies put into himself, which are causing the decryption to fail. Could just be that it's different decryption protocols, but more likely it's that Chaos is doing something to the machine logic that shouldn't work.
My study of the minds of the tech comrades, Abel, Tarsus, and Demens, has revealed an anomalous similarity between the patterns of damage their memories sustained. What I attributed to cognitive idiosyncrasies, synaptic damage, and the distortive action of scrap code may be the result of a different kind of influence. The undecryptable data fragments in their memory arrays are mysteriously symmetrical.
Interesting. So they all have very similar undecryptable segments. What corrupted Demens?
An echo of the warp. Energies of the Imperium that had seeped into real space and taken the shape of a Vox signal. I have found recorded cases of similarly induced corruption in the archive. Listening to the void is a perilous occupation.
You did want to know what he knew. You were interested. Has it occurred to you that all these events may be part of Amarnat's plan? That's what I'm saying. But you did want to know what he knew. You were interested?
The quest for knowledge is our mission of highest priority. But what Demens promised was not knowledge, but a distorted copy of it. This was not what the Deus Mechanicus had told us to seek.
Pascal's voice grows heavier and gloomier. Yeah, it's a strange paradox of wanting to know all knowledge, but having warp and chaos knowledge be illegal, taboo, whatever. And so at some point you have to draw a line, but it's the question of, if I need to know all things, and that is something, but I'm not allowed to look into that. Some people draw that line in a different place than others. Any information on Archmagos Amarnat?
The data discovered is unreadable. It is encrypted, albeit only partially, and I hypothesize that the heretic Demence was attempting to decrypt it. I will take every effort to extract a larger volume of data. Information pointing to the unit referred to as the Maimed Hunter is alleged to be of critical significance.
Has it ever occurred to you that all these events may be part of Amarnat's plan?
That is a valid hypothesis, but not a very likely one. Its truth value is irrelevant, as it does not contradict the necessity of establishing the fate of Archmagos Amarnat.
The Tech Priest's vox is raspier than usual. He thinks... So he doesn't see anything impossible about the theory, but he doesn't think it's likely, but he also doesn't care to look into it because it doesn't change the fact that he still needs to find the fate of the Archmagos. He believes he's dead. I'm not so sure, because I'm under the belief that he's wrong. This is Amarnat's plan, and Amarnat is at the head of whatever's going on, and we're going to find him alive and leading the heretic cultists. At least that's the direction it feels like it's going to me. You fear knowledge even as you extol it.
Whether knowledge can be profane is the grand question. Lay people find comfort in the delusion that knowledge is merely information. That, in and of itself, it is harmless, and only turns dangerous when it falls into the hands of the wicked.
Pascal's voice turns metallic. His mechadendrites begin a fluid dance around his lean figure, coiling mysteriously.
But that is not what I have seen. I have seen knowledge gnaw away at the minds of those who let it inside them. Yet I seek it regardless. Why? Perhaps because there really is no apostasy in knowledge. It is dangerous, yes, but not forbidden. For it was created by the Omnissiah.
Your Omnissiah does not speak to you, so you wander about in the dark. Embrace the light of the Emperor, and the true God will show you which way damnation lies and which way grace lies. Yeah, that's not something he's going to agree to. No high-ranking tech priest is going to be like, you know what, you're right. I'm going to turn away from following the Omnissiah and follow the Emperor. Most of the time, they're just going to say, oh, didn't you know that they're technically considered the same being? Therefore, I am following your Emperor, now leave me alone to worship as I wish. Not all knowledge comes from the Omnissiah. Some is rooted in evil and is nothing but a threat to humanity. True. That's why you don't look up culty, like heretic machines, and try and understand them. I believe that any and all knowledge can be tamed for the glory of humanity. See, that's the more heretical path that we could have taken, is that whatever we need to do is fine, because theoretically what we're doing is for the betterment of humanity, even if you're delving deep into chaos worship. If you use it for the good of humanity and for our empire, for our rogue trader house, then it's fine. You seek knowledge because it's what you enjoy doing, so do what you enjoy. Otherwise, what's the point of living? Could also be a heretical point of view, because you're supposed to just do your duty, not just do whatever seems fun. I would not presume to give you advice. I mean, the extreme dogmatic would be the top one, trying to turn a tech priest from the Omnissiah. But I don't think we are that extremely dogmatic. No, I'm going to go with option 2 of not all knowledge comes from the Omnissiah. Some of it is rooted in evil and is nothing but a threat to humanity.
There is a threat in everything. A las gun once exploded in its owner's hands for the first time. A cyclonic torpedo once fell on a virtuous world for the first time. Heresy was once uttered in the sacred binary language for the first time. No thing of great power is ever safe.
I mean, true? I'm not talking about las guns. I'm talking about, you know, what were they? Forge fiends, I think is what they were called. That were clearly machines empowered by chaotic energies and demons. That nonsense is what I'm talking about.
But not all that is dangerous is evil. Few will dare say it in so many words. But some of our knowledge was obtained from corrupted sources. By studying the creations of Xenos, we grasp profound secrets of the universe that they had discovered, and we had not. By pondering heresies, we devised technological solutions to exterminate them. We drew knowledge from a poisoned well, filtered it, and attained comprehension.
Okay, that's fair. If you guys are fine with researching heretical sources with the intent to learn good truths from it without being corrupted by that knowledge, you gotta have some very, very good filters, as you call it. But sure. Because no filter is 100%. So it's like that at some point that fails, and you just have to be ready for that. The tech priest lowers his head pensively. The mechadendrites slow down smoothly, and the steely overtones disappear from Pascal's voice. Continue your research.
Response: affirmative. The decryption will continue with diligence and caution.
Yeah, that's the same thing I just said. No filters 100%. You're going to keep working on this decryption, trying to learn. And I hope you don't become influenced by it. But I'm not confident. I must take my leave.
May your labors be effective and fruitful.
I think that's everything here. So let's go back to Nomos, I believe. Yeah. Reminding Nomos about this data that once allowed its consciousness to awaken may yield results. Fair. So let's go back here. I was planning to go over here and look into those incidents, those data caches anyway, but I guess we needed to talk to the people first, so I'm glad I did that. The servitor built into the huge cogitator turns its head towards you. The Vox emits a rasping voice. Hello, Nomos welcomes your visit. What have you been doing, Nomos? We have been studying and observing, and helping the ship when we can. So many mechanisms. They would have suffered without our input. What about the research notes on the tech blight that we obtained from the cache on Kiava Gamma? This name is also known to us. It related to Nomos, although we do not understand how. Incident N872-04 was a ship-wide system failure of some kind. It and Epitaph had something to do with the ship flying better. The incident marked the beginning of us. The ship became better because of us, too. These are all links in the same chain, but we cannot piece them together yet. People who accompanied Theodora on her travels are strangely unaware of the incident and Epitaph. The human shells are subject to external influences. Perhaps someone purged their memory archives, or perhaps they simply do not want to access them. It is a shame that no new information was obtained, but Nomos are grateful that you tried. Someone purged the humans' memory archives? The only one that could wipe out memory of events would be a psyker. And given that the main psyker on board for Theodora was either Adira, who doesn't remember, or our astropath. It's possible our astropath may know more? I could check. I'm going to take my leave. The Cybergogel tracks your... gaze tracks you as you walk away from the cogitator. I'm doubting that the astropath will have anything to say, but we did get a quest to talk to all of the major support crew of the ship. So I am certainly willing to talk to the astropath. It's been ages since we've talked to him. He might have something more interesting, unrelated to this, that we could still talk about. And it's possible that he will have something to say regarding this.
Victory awaits.
Hi, Zachary. No, he doesn't have anything to say. That's fine. We'll speak later. It's a shame. But yeah, if it wasn't him, it would have had to have been Adira. So either she's lying to us about not knowing anything, but I would assume we would have gotten a roll to a perception roll to see if we would be aware of that. Or she was forced to wipe her own memory. But that's hard to imagine. I don't know. Well, whatever. Let's head back to the map. I think at this point we are gonna head to Dargonus. And I was thinking that it would make sense. Let's chart new routes, first of all. But I was thinking it would make sense to build a quick route to Dargonus from here. Whoa, we have 55 insight? We were down to like 6 or something. Probably because we've moved on to the next act, chapter, whatever of the game. So we don't want to waste all of that, because I'm assuming we can look at the map and how far it spreads beyond what we have right now, like all of these areas. My guess is that when we truly get into the next chapter, or at some future chapter, we're going to have events out here that we can deal with, you know, where we currently can't go to or don't have anything to check out. And we want to save those points for that. But for now, let's create a route directly from Chiava to Dargonus. And then we will spend 3 points to make that safe. So now we have a safe route from Chiava to Dargonus, and a safe route from Dargonus down to Janus. So our 3 core systems are all tied together. Foulstone has a riot that we need to go to. 100% agree with the quick travel route between the key worlds. Yeah, it makes sense to me. And welcome, Main Pious Fool. So we need to get to Foulstone. Is there any projects I can work on there? I think, yeah, we were done there. Janus. We have some that are locked because of requirements, just reputation probably. Yep. Dargonus, we need to go back to for rich spoils. And I think we're basically done here as well. Some we could do if we had more reputation. Vibos. We've got some stuck on reputation. I think Chiava is the new one, which we are stuck on these because of reputation. Okay, so we can't do any more. Do I want to go to Foulstone before I go to Dargonus? Just to get everything done before we actually move forward. I think so. So let's warp travel to Dargonus' system, but not actually go into it. And then we'll warp travel down here to our Janus system. And then Foulstone was here. That'll be an unsafe trip, which is fine. Warp jump was unusually hectic. The recent attack of the scrap code disabled many of the sacred machines, whose malfunctioning algorithms showed no sign of failure until the vessel departed real space and surrendered itself to the Sea of Souls. Only the navigator's talent and the tireless vigil of the tech priest saved the void ship from ruin. The Imperium released us from its grip this time. Let's head in. Riot has broken out in the colony. The cult of the Final Dawn has sunk its poisonous roots into the planet and has now grown strong enough to make itself known. We have an option to make haste to aid the colony, but it's grayed out, so I'm not sure why we can't do that. We can enter the battle. We can lose 3 profit factor to send mercenaries to the planet. Or we can suppress the riot with planetary wardens because our security is greater than or equal to 7. So it feels like this one is just an automatic win because we have high enough security. But I kind of want to enter the battle anyway since we're here. Like, it feels like we should join the battle. Just clicking an auto win button feels strange. Well, we'll assume that we are entering the battle, even as we use our planetary defenses. But I'm guessing this is the better outcome, since we needed to have... There were requirements to be able to achieve this one. So usually that means you get better results, rather than this is a sort of a failure state of if we have no other options, we have to go into the battle ourselves. So yeah, let's suppress the riot with planetary wardens. I hope this doesn't actually end up costing us some of our security, because then I'll feel bad. The heretics' riot was mercilessly quelled and its instigators publicly executed. Okay, yeah, so we just won. It's weird that we had to show up for that. Like, we had to come all the way to Foulstone just to say, yeah, planetary defenses, defend the planet. Well, whatever. Let's head back up here to Janus. And then safe trip to Dargonus. Rich spoils, decision of the Lord Captains. The Void Scout ship has arrived in the colony's orbit, having returned from a long expedition. Their hold is filled with trophies, and the Promethium tanks are nearly empty. We can send them to Promethium, which is probably fine. We've got tons to sell fuel to them. It'll give us 3 profit factor. So many minor scenes. I think it is also why you are getting repeats. You didn't have safe routes with no incidents, but you also don't have dangerous routes to trigger dangerous scenes. Yeah, I don't want to deal with the dangerous scenes because I assume those will turn out very poorly. Like, even unsafe, we've had several fights with demons and cultists and whatnot. And I don't know how much worse things can be if we were actually taking dangerous trips. So I think it's safer just to take the unsafe trips rather than wasting my resources to make every trip safe, because we wouldn't have been able to pull that off. We can buy their trophies. We will get 3 xenotech but lose 2 profit factor. We've got 9 xenotech. Offer them noble titles in exchange for the trophies. What? So if we had enough complacency, which we almost do, we would have needed 5. We only have 4. Then we just are like, yeah, we'll just arbitrarily give you a noble title here on Dargonus if you give me all of your goods. A worthless title. We'll sell some fuel to them. I wonder if I can do both. We'll sell the fuel. We've got plenty, and I like the 3 profit factor. No, we can't do both. That's fine then. I think profit factor is more important than the 3 xenotech. The explorers of the unknown paid well for the Promethium and departed. Alright. So be it. Let's go have our ceremony. Yeah, I think this is the crew I want. I never take out Adira. Cabela I could argue for slotting into the team. Don't really care for Jai. And when we're getting our ceremony to ordain us as a rogue trader, I don't think I necessarily want to have a Xeno with me at the time. This feels like a good crew. The fact that we're bringing our people, though, makes me assume something's going to go wrong at this ceremony, but that's fine. And I believe I voted or chose to have Cassia and Abelard as my main supporters, main people to stand with me at the ceremony. So I definitely want them in the team. Alright, so we have to go talk to the Master of Ceremonies, who I assume is going to be inside of our palace. Do I want to talk to other people on the way over there? Just in case they have anything to say. We can try. Argenta, do you have anything unusual? Nope. Not even a full dialogue. O immortal God Emperor, be merciful to us. I assume we had other people on the way, but it's fine. Let's just head on in. Probably need to go upstairs. It does look like things have been repaired, which is nice, because this place was looking a lot worse when we were last here. Master of Ceremonies. Let's talk to Clementia Wersarian first. Nothing to say. Okay. And Achilles, anything new from you? No. Heinrichs? Alright, seems like everything is basically normal. So, Master of Ceremonies. This servant in fine clothes offers you a deep bow. Your lordship, it is a great honor to serve you in an undertaking as monumental and glorious as the Magna Essestio ceremony. You have been entrusted with arranging the festivities. I have indeed, your lordship. I have been given the high honor of being steward of this eminent palace, and on the occasion of your lordship's ascension, I will be overseeing the preparations for the ceremony. The fact that he doesn't have a name worries me. Like, he's not someone I'm supposed to get to know. Like, no portrait, no name. He's just Master of Ceremonies. I'm like, are you legitimate, or are you going to be someone who is a cultist using this ceremony to attack me or something? I have suspicions. Now Sarbak, to whom you entrusted the arrangements for the festivities, wishes that the Emperor's favor be with you on this monumentous day. Is everything ready? The palace decorations are prepared, and we are ready to begin at your command. The festive activities in the capital have likewise been arranged, and the guests of honor either have arrived on the planet or are awaiting invitation in near orbit. The servants are already in your chambers to see to it that you are impeccably garbed for the occasion. Then let us begin. May the Emperor be with us this day. Like, the fact that the ceremony isn't being run by some named NPC we've gotten to know already, but just some nameless person. Suddenly Cthulhu? Yeah. Hello? Rejoice, Von Valencia's subjects. In honor of his ascension, the new rogue trader generously shows you his favor. Is there just a guy dead there? To remind the people of their humility and loyalty for the next cycle, administration in the temples in the Von Valencia's Protectorate will be performed without interruption. Every subject is to attend a service and offer a prayer of gratitude to the God Emperor. Keep the faith and praise the pious rogue trader. Yeah, because we chose the option of prayers and alms and whatnot as the way to celebrate our ascension as a rogue trader. The crowd below is roiling, their electrified exultation filling the air of Dargonis. Thousands of throats chant your name. You are at the apex of this world and all others. Amplified by 100 voxes, the voice of the Master of Ceremonies booms. Rejoice, subjects of Dargonis. You have been granted the felicity of witnessing your master, a great honor bestowed upon us by rogue trader Ignatius von Valencius. Gracious savior of Dargonis and vanquisher of blaspheming inhumans, may their unholy kind perish in the flames of righteousness. Okay. Ooh, is there an option that we could have gotten to Dargonis too late? We made it to Dargonis before it could be devastated by the Drukhari. We chose to go to Dargonis second of the three main worlds. If we'd taken our time and gone to Kiabagama before Dargonis, would the Drukhari have actually devastated it? Cool. Cleanser of Janus, who with one hand brought death, I can't speak today, brought death upon the blaspheming Xenos, and with the others exterminated the despicable worshippers of the archenemy. Very true. Gracious protector of footfall, patron of trade. You do love that the game has consequences? Yeah. That's the problem, is the game is so long I'm unlikely to ever play through it again. But it has so many different options of how things can play out that I wish I could see all the variety. Yeah. It's cool that everyone's playthrough is going to be slightly different, though. A hush falls over the crowd, who gaze upon you in adoration. Many of them bear terrible scars from the recent battle of Dargonis. Like children, they await the word of their almighty father. We can go dogmatic. Praise the Emperor, faithful souls. The darkness around us may be fierce, but the blaze in our hearts is fiercer still. Evil will burn. Iconoclast, fear not the coming day. Henceforth, you are all my charges. Heretical, remember that you have no other ruler but me. For any who dare to forget this, the howls of demons from the warp will sound like the babbling of babes, and Xenos' blades will seem like a soft feather bed compared to the horror of the punishment I'll inflict. Wow. Sir Faithful, and I will lead you to prosperity. The Koronus Expanse will enrich us all. Or turn to the Master of Ceremonies and speak right into the box. Am I expected to say something to them? I won't talk to rabble. Take it away. We're gonna go dogmatic. As usual. Unless the dogmatic goes too crazy, I usually go dogmatic. Praise the Emperor, faithful souls. The darkness around us may be fierce, but the blaze in our hearts is fiercer still. Evil will burn. The crowd erupts in frenzied cries. Hundreds of people pull out knives and with ardent, jubilant howls carve crude, bleeding Aquillas on their faces, sharing in the martyrdom of the protector of humankind, the God Emperor. Wow. Everyone just agrees that's how you're supposed to celebrate a cry of righteousness is that you have to carve the Aquila into your face with a knife. 40k is amazing. So much gold and white. Cassia stares at the crowd enraptured. It seems this massive gathering of exalting people is just as exotic and captivating to her as the sight of a bona fide navigator, a representative of the mysterious and powerful Navis Nobilite, is to your subjects. Adequate. Dargonos is not disappointed. Aphrodite forces the smile of satisfaction from his face and whispers to you, "You remember the next part, yes? Your lordship will be asked to take the oath." Adequate. The people are carving the Aquila into their own faces, and he's like, I guess they're doing a well enough job of celebrating. The Master of Ceremonies bows to you with great reverence. "Let the oath of the Von Valentius dynasty be taken. Please repeat after me, your lordship. I, Ignatius, rogue trader, by the grace of the Emperor, vow to be the paragon of humanity." I, Ignatius, rogue trader, by the grace of the Emperor, vow to be the paragon of humanity. Your lips repeat the words of the ancient oath, unbroken by adversity, to walk bravely first into darkness, to unite and reclaim what was lost, to triumph over nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily the road of thorns, through pain to greatness. You hear a rumble. It is the roar of the sea of your subjects. With jubilation and devout fear, they welcome your ascension. It is done. And we didn't actually have anything go wrong. Surprises me. Von Valentius Protector is emerging from a crisis, but that means it is once again an interesting prospect for external predators. To avoid it leading the major players of the Koronus Expanse into temptation, the Rogue Trader should assert his right to Theodore's legacy. The nobles of the Protector and influential guests have gathered at a reception in honor of Theodore von Valentius as heir. The social occasion is a political event where alliances will be forged, which is why the Rogue Trader must seize the opportunities presented to him. The Master of Ceremonies should be notified of the end of the reception. Talk to the Rogue Traders, Winterscale, and Corda. Makes sense. Huh. So we've got a statue of someone facing statues of, I'm guessing, Eldari. Is that supposed to be representing us? Fighting off the Eldari? Like in Janus? Ilia is looking at them. I wonder what the people think, seeing her standing here next to these statues. The noble figures of... Hello? The Guardian of Humanity burn with righteous fury and stern resolve. What a blessing to see you in good health, your lordships. Greeting to you, your lordship. So that's just a generic Guardian of Humanity. This exotic statue, which formerly pleased the eyes of Xenos, now adorns the palace of this dynasty of glorious explorers of the Koronus Expanse. Iliad, your gatherings look odd and unusual. I will remember this. Alright, who else do we have around? Scattered haphazardly around the tables are bottles of expensive amasec, plates of provisions, plates of Provisia Nobilis, and hookahs of Obscura. Ha! Okay. We've got terrible chance, 44% lore Imperium to try and recognize this tank, which we actually succeeded at. The Venerable Lehman Russ is known as the Scipian Punisher, and it has served the Von Valentius dynasty for 2 centuries. It was hit in the battle with... No, come back. It was hit in the battle with the Xenos that inhabited Scipia II, but it heroically destroyed 63 enemy vehicles and brought victory to its comrades, securing its status as a relic blessed by the Emperor. This Herald Servo Skull just periodically talking, ruining my ability to read. We've got more people up here. Whoa. Kobolite Warrior. Condemned Mutant Gunner. People are just taking shots at them. It's like a shooting gallery at a carnival. But rather than shooting at, you know, balloons or whatever, they're shooting at criminals. We'll get over there in a moment. This eerily crackling Xenos trophy is a testament to how the omniscience gifts become twisted shadows of themselves in the hands of inhumans. Just criminals, that is, after all, a family event. Yep. Cabela, your subjects have turned the act of killing into amusement. This is a great sacrilege. Domin Ignatius. But have no fear, I will explain the will of the Undying One to the lay people. Well, I hope you don't mind, but I'm also going to take part. What is happening to us? I don't have any effects on me. I don't see anything that showed up here, but that was weird. We haven't looked at you yet. Inscribed upon the snow-white parchment of the prayers are the prayers for the brave soldiers of the House von Valencius, who carry the rogue trader's will and that of the Emperor across the Koronus Expanse. Oh, we've got a bunch of named people here. We'll come back to you guys in a bit. These magnificent paintings were created in the style that fully complies with the artistic canon approved by the Ecclesiarchy. A fragment of an Eldari pillar, a trophy up to the rogue trader, and a never-before-seen oddity to most citizens of the Imperium. It's odd to have so much Xenos stuff here, because it's fine for us as a rogue trader, and I guess that's the point, is we're showing off our wealth and what we've collected on our travels. But just having the people around a bunch of Xenos stuff feels odd to me. Alright, none of you are named. Let's see what you are. Magnificent altar to the God Emperor is wreathed in the fumes of precious incense. We've got an Alpha Lacerax and a mutant. Also, it amuses me that mutants are illegal and criminals just for being mutants. Good question. Most of these are going to be nobles and high officials, but still. Hey, Dragon Tier Leather, welcome. Wild Xenobeasts are growling ferociously, adding a flare of thrilling danger to the mood of the palace. Can we talk to the mutant? Please, let me go. I'm not a Xenos, I'm a person. I just look different. I was born this way. Yeah, that's the thing about mutants. You were unfortunate enough to have a mutation that is not acceptable in 40k, versus myself as a psyker has a mutation that is more accepted. Still not 100% accepted. Lord Xenos. So you are Eldari, specifically Drukhari. The Drukhari captive is angrily muttering curse directed at the detestable monkey, promising horrible torture for everyone present. We actually succeed on that as well. We need to roll... oh no, we had a 100% chance. It showed 30%. So it showed 30%, but then Pascal took the test. So it's telling me my chances of myself succeeding, but it's letting my party members still take the role. That's kind of confusing. Alright, I think we've looked at everything besides all of you. We've got Abelard here. Where's the rest of my party? I guess that's it. We've talked to Cabela and Irliet, and Abelard's the only other one. It's odd. Well, I guess we can probably go into the palace and maybe we'd see more of our people there. Yes, I went to Kiava Gamma last stream and dealt with all of that. Let's talk to Abelard first. Governor Urban Drivestem stands surrounded by highborn guests. Like, I clicked on Abelard, but I guess we're just talking to the whole group then. Surrounded by highborn guests like a planet orbited by many moons. All of his charm is directed at a man in resplendent power armor adorned with the sigils of the Inquisition. But as soon as you approach, Drivestem is the first to give you an elegant bow, getting ahead of the rest in the expressions of loyalty. This is a great day, your lordship. There's someone in power armor. I assume that's... Oh, it's you, obviously. I didn't look at what your name was. Drivestem is the leader of Vibo 6, who thought he should be the one most prominently respected in this ceremony, and I put Sourback's family in place as the head of the event instead. So he's probably at least somewhat annoyed at us. Smile graciously. I welcome you to my palace, honored guests. Yawn. For you, perhaps. For me, it is just another day. Wow. Pointedly gaze at Drivestem with animosity and say nothing. No, I have no reason to be confronting with Drivestem. I welcome you to my palace, honored guests. You are buffeted by a salvo of congratulations and compliments. Look at the guests. Iconoclasts stare at the faces of the nobles in attendance. I'm ready to accept your congratulations. What are you discussing? Nod to the Inquisitor. Oh, you're not just someone in the Inquisition with power armor. You're the Inquisitor himself. Then we definitely want to talk to you. My greetings to a member of the Holy Inquisition. Let's look at the guests first. Among the aristocrats surrounding the opulently dressed Drivestem, you notice a couple of young nobles in Sourback and Gaprak colors. It would seem that the major noble families of Dargonus have decided to introduce their younger members to high society. The tall man in gray power armor adorned with a column of with a skull is undoubtedly a high-ranking inquisitor. He keeps to the periphery of the conversation, seldom deigning to comment. Next to him is his entourage, a rangy warrior in black armor and a tech priest dressed in red, whose face is hidden behind a brass mask. So that's got to be you two. No, that's Abelard. It's got to be you two. Abelard stands somewhat apart from the others, as if reluctant to approach Drivestem. Next to him is a young woman, and you notice a family resemblance between them. Okay, that's the other Wissarian, who's been a main person on the planet, presumably. Take a guess at who is allied with whom in the tangle of snakes. 42% is not amazing. We'll give it a shot. We succeeded. How about that? Rolled a 37 under the 42. Drivestem is, obviously, still the leader of Dargonus aristocracy, but judging by the courtesy he is showing to young Sourback, he clearly wants to strengthen his relationship with that house. The senior Sourback and Gaprak are whispering in another corner. Sourback, whose family seems to be giving you the cold shoulder, must be trying to sway Gaprak to his side. Sourback's family is giving me the cold shoulder. Didn't we... Maybe I didn't choose Sourback to be the leading... We chose who was going to be who in this this ceremony so long ago that I can't remember exactly what we chose. It's possible that I said to put the honor on the Wersarian family. But I thought I chose Sauerback. I certainly didn't choose Drivestem. But if we gave Sauerback the honor and they're giving me the cold shoulder, that's not good. Which could be quite advantageous to Lady Gaprak. After all, the disaster on Kiaba Gamma has left her family in an extremely vulnerable position. The Wersarians stand apart, their exclusion from the rest palpable, because the Wersarians aren't actually nobles. You think you did Abelard's family on your playthrough? Okay. Yeah, I think they gave a choice of Wersarian, Sauerback, and Drivestem, as I recall. Drivestem being the main noble of the area, and so he automatically assumed that he would be chosen, but I didn't like his attitude, so I didn't want to choose him. Sauerback is a noble of standing, but not as highly ranked as Drivestem, but it's assumed that we would give the honor to a noble, so it seemed like Sauerback was the obvious choice. We could choose the Wersarian family, because the Wersarian family was... can't think. Yeah, the Wersarian family is not technically nobles, but they've been involved in high ranking long enough that it wouldn't be too much of a taboo to choose their family. So I think I still went with Sauerback because they are a good family that's respected and noble, but not Drivestem. At least that was my reasoning in my mind. I'm ready to accept your congratulations. What were you discussing just now? I'm going to nod to the Inquisitor. My greetings to the member of the Holy Inquisition. We'll start there. Hopefully we can go back to discussing what they're discussing. But yeah. Xavier Calcazar. Yeah, so this is the Inquisitor that we've communicated with briefly in the past. And he looks cool. I mean, power armor automatically looks cool by default. Yeah. He responds with a dignified bow, his proud face calm and unfaltering. And my greetings to you, esteemed Ignatius von Valencius. May shadows never darken the light of the Astronomicon that guides you. The Inquisitor's companion, a crimson-robed member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, bows to you. From behind the brass mask mounted with dozens of augmetics comes a metallic rasp. Glory to the von Valencius air. You are Brass Whisper. Okay. And we don't get to hear from your other soldier type. So the Inquisitor and his companions. 87%. That's pretty good. Another success. The Lord Inquisitor's relaxed expression radiates an odd sense of menace. He is akin to a predator on the prowl, content to hide in the brush of fake smiles and elegant conversation for now. Does he think that there is some heresy here at this ceremony that he needs to be here for? Predator on the prowl makes me think that he's expecting something to go on, and he's just ready for it. Or he's searching for a heretic or something. Among the many augmetics, we passed a random tech use. We keep passing all of our tests that we have no right to be passing. I'm not going to complain, but it's weird. Among the many augmentations which stand out is the horribly melted, deformed cogitator connected to the tech priest's head. How it is working is baffling. What is twice as baffling is that the tech priest hasn't replaced it yet. What unpredictable influence can this ruined implant have on his mind? That's weird. That's very weird. An unexpected visit, I wasn't told. We have not been introduced. Who is this member of the Honorable Priesthood of the Adeptus Mechanicus, or enjoy the party? An unexpected visit. The Inquisition was unexpected. Never expect the Spanish Inquisition. We haven't been truly introduced, but we've communicated. So that one might be strange. An unexpected visit, I wasn't told. I, however, have been told all about you. Nobody expects the Imperial Inquisition. Yep. The Inquisitor's face is impenetrable, but behind the mask you detect a hint of mockery. Oh, that's not good. It seemed like he, at least in the brief note we got from him early on, where he was talking about us, the two of us being the shields against heresy in the area, and he was glad to work with us. He seemed very positive of us. A hint of mockery does not sound good. We have not been introduced. An oversight, to be sure. My name is Xavier Calcazar, and I have the honor of serving as a member of the illustrious Ordo Xenos, the head of the Koronus Expanse conclave, and the Lord Inquisitor of this region. It is my unending task to ensure this sector's readiness to meet external threats and resist internal corruption. I mean, he might be upset that we literally have a Xenos hanging out at our party. I can understand him being unhappy with that. That we have an Eldari as part of our retinue that's chilling at our party. Yeah. That's fair. I don't know if that's what he's unhappy about, but it would make sense. And who is this member of the Honorable Priesthood of the Adeptus Mechanicus? This is Brass Whisper, which naturally is not his real name. The esteemed Magos is a member of my retinue. There are times when I am forced to, by my duty to the Emperor, to deal with xenotechnology, and Brass Whisper ensures my safety in such moments. Works that have been desecrated by Xenos are dangerous. They warrant... His whispering cuts off, replaced by heavy, ragged breathing. It seems that the tech priest's voice, quiet voice is not an extravagant quirk, but rather a consequence of some injury. After catching his breath, Brass Whisper continues, warrant due caution. Okay, we'll enjoy the party. The evening will certainly be illuminating. I am nervous with your attitude and what you're saying. I guess I don't like how this is phrased. I'm ready to accept your congratulations. Because it's a very full of yourself way of phrasing it. I see you also don't just panic at the disco. Yeah. He's enigmatic, seems to deal rewards and punishments with the same hand. Yeah. I don't know much about him, but I'm nervous because the Inquisition has the power to do whatever they feel is necessary. And they're making it seem like he's ready. He's here with the intent to do something. And so I don't think we're on the friendly terms that I thought we were. Alright, I'm ready to accept your congratulations. Random people bowing. In that case, allow me to be the first to offer them. Drivestem snaps his fingers, and several servants approach you with gifts. The governor points at a thin, curved Drukhari blade. Right in front of the Inquisition, my soldiers took this splendid trophy from the body of one of the Xenos commanders. The weapon is too beautiful and forbidden for anyone but your lordship. Severed hand. It's a one-handed Drukhari power sword. A dark curved blade crafted by the despicable Drukhari, this deadly weapon was claimed as a trophy in the Battle of Dargonis. Most warriors prefer swords, blah blah blah. That's the usual stuff about swords. So it just has a venomous strike, which is just its basic strike. Melee attack that poisons enemy with toxin, but doesn't say how much. Or venomous slash, which is probably the same as normal slash, but also gets toxin. But again, doesn't say how much. Odd. 16 to 20 with 35% armor penetration feels okay, but I don't think it's as good as a lot of the other weapons, plus we'd need Drukhari proficiency, which I think Jai is the only one who has. So Jai could use this, but I never use her, so meh. Continue. There we go. Young Sauerback squeezes through to be next, pushing Gaprak aside with confidence. Your lordship, House Sauerback anticipates the onset of unsettled and bloody times. To make the ungodly Xenos cower at your approach, my family humbly presents you with a dozen pieces of secondary armament for your ship. That I do approve of. Young Gaprak bows ceremoniously. House Gaprak is delighted to present you this blessed work of the Omniscience Smiths. May this locator matrix, which took the holy artisan an entire lifetime to create, always show you the right path. Ordinate Oracle. This matrix grants the wearer a plus 15 bonus to awareness. That's cool. Give that to Castia, maybe? Depending on what she's already using. Having let the aristocrats go first as a sign of deference, Abelard is the last to speak. Your lordship, House Wissarion possesses no relics worthy of your acceptance, but we are rich and talented and hardworking people. As a sign of our loyalty, I humbly offer you my flesh and blood. 100 of my kin will go to colonies in your protectorate and use all their talents so that the worlds in your charge may prosper. Fair. You have 100 kin? I'm assuming they're not directly your descendants, but like your cousin's children's and second cousin's children and whatnot, like tied to House Wissarion, but not directly your descendants, but you're just the ranking member of your family. What were we discussing just now? We were talking about the brutal Xenos raid on our fair Dargonus. So many victims, so much damage to our industries. You think he's a great-grandfather at this point? At least a grandfather? Yeah, he's definitely a grandfather, might be a great-grandfather, but 100 descendants for a great-grandparent, like within 3 generations, would be crazy. So it's got to be branching off from there, unless he had, you know, a dozen kids and each of them had a dozen kids. I mean, it doesn't have to go quite that far, but still, lots of large families would be needed to pull that off. And then it would still be, he'd be giving up basically his whole lineage. It's got to be branching off from above him. So many victims, so much damage to our industries. Thank the Emperor that you are our protector. If it weren't for you, the cursed invaders would have obliterated the whole planet. He offers you a thin, obsequious smile. Sharing the sector with the blasted Xenos is impossible. I hope you respond to the raid on Dargonus with a punitive campaign. And Sauerback's smile is conceited and bloodthirsty. Yeah, all of the Sauerbacks are very bloodthirsty. Dangerously bloodthirsty. I agree that we need to remove all Drukhari. I'm not as convinced that all of the children of Asuryan Eldari need to be removed, because I haven't seen them do much that was strongly anti-human. Some, but most of the ones we've seen are just refugees trying to survive. I see you hate Xenos with all your heart, speaking to Sauerback, or to Abelard's young relative. What is your name? We'll talk to Sauerback first. I see you hate Xenos with all your heart. I do. This pestilence against the Emperor must be exterminated. He talks ardently and smoothly, like a commissar. He places his hand on the hilt of his finely adorned sword, his pale face ablaze with noble fury. Or they must be forced into servitude. Many Xenos are more useful alive and obedient than dead. The young man in Gaprak's colors speaks with sagacity and gravity, but his opinion seems to carry little weight in this circle. Need to reach some kind of accord with them, but all the Farseers we've dealt with seem so arrogant. The Farseers, I think we've only really dealt with one Asuryan Farseer who clearly had gone way overboard, because They were more focused on hurting humans than pushing back against Slaanesh. And any good Eldari should be far more fearful of Slaanesh and their influence than on humans coexisting on a planet. Sagacity? Yeah, it's not a word I'm familiar with. So Gaprak wants us to keep the Xenos, but force them into servitude, which guarantees permanent Xenos rebellions, because the Eldari are not going to be accepting of being slaves. So I don't know how well that's going to work. It's tricky since its root is from Sage, which is what I gathered, with a soft G. Sagacity has a hard G. Stupid English. Yeah, English is rough. Like, I've done some brief studying of Spanish in high school, and then on my own I've done a little bit of trying to learn a bit of Japanese. Never really went far with either, but in both cases, they have very clear, this is what a letter sounds like, which is super nice, as opposed to English, where every letter has a dozen pronunciations, some of them extremely rare, but still they happen. And you're just like, why English? And it's because we're a melting pot of different cultures, so we grabbed words and used their pronunciations, even though the spelling doesn't make sense with how the rest of English is put together. English doesn't borrow from other languages. It mugs them in dark alleys and rifles their pockets for spare grammar. Basically true. Yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily 100% agree with Gaprak. It pleases me to see such earnest faith. I must commend you. Smile venomously. And how many Xenos have you killed personally, Sourback? Or young Gaprak is right. The Xenos are not just a threat, they are also an opportunity. I'm kind of feeling the more neutral response of just saying, yeah, you're all earnest in faith, I commend you. Rather than trying to say that one is more correct than the other. Well, I guess this is also taking a stab at Sourback, because probably whoever this leading member of the Sourback family is, probably has not spent a lot of time personally in war killing Xenos. You'd say English got mugged? I don't see a need to antagonize Sourback, who apparently already, from what we read earlier, was standoffish towards us. So, yeah, it just pleases me to see earnest faith. I must commend you. Sourback blushes and raises his chin. How Sourback is stalwart in its faith, your lordship? Are you imagining things, or did you just notice a mocking glint in the eye of the Inquisitor standing among the guests? Yeah, something's gonna go on with the Inquisitor. I'm just waiting for him to do whatever he's planning to do. But this just waiting, knowing that he's planning something and just waiting for it to happen, doesn't feel good. It's not just English, though. It always throws me hearing people speaking in, say, Japanese, but then including random English words. Yes, Japanese also has grabbed English words. I mean, most cultures, English is such a prominent language that most other cultures have also grabbed some English words, which is kind of weird considering English is getting its words from other cultures, and so it's creating this weird blending. Words brands because there's no term in Japanese, as if things weren't originated by Japan. Same applies to other languages / nations. Yep. I don't remember what's up with the Sourbacks. No, yeah, I'm curious what's going on with them, because they... Besides just being bloodthirsty, the Sourback we have on our ship is extremely bloodthirsty. This Sourback that's leading the noble house here is extremely bloodthirsty. It seems to just be their attitude as a whole. Something's always going on with the Inquisitors. Yeah, I was just hoping he'd be more friendly because we've generally done things he would agree with. We've made a few choices that he wouldn't, like having Iliad on our retinue. We've had an issue with Swedish for a long time now, where English words have been forced in despite there already being a native word with the same meaning. Okay. I'm not familiar with Swedish language, so... yeah. English has spread its corruption everywhere. Yeah. Let's look at Abelard's young relative. What is your name? Your lordship, allow me to introduce the daughter of Chancellor Clementia Wissarion, and my great-granddaughter. Yeah, so I knew that Clementia was his granddaughter, so I assumed he would have great-grandchildren, so here's an example. My great-granddaughter, Astaria. Abelard looked solemnly upon the young woman with barely concealed pride. I'm delighted to witness you, your lordship. Astaria bows, keeping her observant and intelligent eyes trained on you. Modesty forbids my esteemed forebearer to say this himself, so I will. Our entire family is grateful to you for wishing to see someone of Wissarian blood at your side as you claim your inheritance. Drivestem exchanges telling glances with young Sauerback, who, judging by his face, is suddenly finding the collar of his expensive frock coat uncomfortably tight. Yes, we had Abelard stand with us. As the two members of my retinue that I could choose, I chose Abelard as one of them. But I didn't... Drivestrom and Sauerback are definitely taking that negatively. I mean, I could have chosen someone else, like Iliad, to stand with us. That would have annoyed everyone. What's wrong with saying Swedish language? Pseudonym's laughing at me. I don't know. How are you finding the reception? Where are the rest of your kin, Abelard? I hope the Wissarian family gives Abelard the credit he deserves. How are you finding the reception? It is difficult to put into words, your lordship. Never before have I seen such a grand and striking ceremony. Astaria's voice sounds passionate and inspired, and her eyes shine with barely contained excitement. Perception test succeeded again. Young Gaprak keeps staring at Astaria curiously and a little bashfully. It seems the boy likes her. Yes. You can just say Swedish. Swedish language, I think, is clear that I'm specifically talking about the language and not the culture or anything else. I don't think there's anything wrong with me saying that I was speaking about the Swedish language. Where are the rest of your kin, Abelard? They are in the city, preoccupied with running the festivities and watching over some of the more crucial services. No incidents can be allowed to ruin your ceremony. Astaria frowns and adds peevishly, I asked the esteemed Abelard to put me to some important task too, but he bid me to attend the reception, where I can do nothing to serve your lordship. Sauerback smirks. If I had known, I too would have asked Abelard to let you miss the party. Wow. Wow. So you wish to become my servant as well? Astaria flushes and starts talking quickly with fire in her voice. It would seem that she finds work-related conversations far more interesting than court gossip. Of course. I've been working on a project for the last 4 years. We could set up... Enough, Astaria. I highly doubt his lordship is interested in listening to the fantasies of a young woman about how to run his protectorate. Abelard shoots Drivestrom a glare so dark and bloodthirsty that the latter instinctively starts looking for the nearest warden. Wow. We know Abelard can be a bit menacing at times, but a glare so dark and bloodthirsty that it shuts up Drivestem. Wow. It's quite true. I really am not interested. No, coercion 10. Hold your tongue, Urband. I decide who may speak and who may not. Please continue, Astaria. Only a 45% chance. But we've been rolling good so far, so let's keep going. Another success. We've been rolling a lot of under 50% chance successes. Art Nastari continues in the tone of a seasoned administratum clerk. Our suggestion is to set up a chain of stations in the void, plasma beacons that would signal the passing ships. By placing them in logistically sound locations, we could simplify our ship's routes so that they may split long warp jumps into a series of safer, shorter jumps from one beacon to another. This would have a positive effect on the overall safety of journeys and the accessibility of colonies. You want to set up stations in the Imperium, in the void. That seems incredibly dangerous, because I was like, you can't just set up stations in space and then while in the Imperium hope that you can see the plasma beacons. But no, she's actually wanting to set up the stations in the void. If they are entirely self-run, so they don't have personnel there, maybe. But if you have people living long-term, maintaining a plasma beacon station in the void, that is just asking for problems. Like, yeah, they'd probably still have a Geller field to protect them, etc., but something would go wrong in the same way that our ship's journeys have things go wrong all the time. And they would just be permanently stuck there in the void. Like, the idea sounds like if it worked, it'd be very useful, but that'd be hard to pull off. Void being between the stars, not the Imperium? Okay. If we're not talking the Imperium, I assume they were speaking of the Imperium. But okay, if they, by void they mean just out in space, can you have a plasma beacon that would burn brightly enough to be noticeable to the navigators while they're in the warp? Because they're doing all of their charting, to my understanding, based on looking for routes through the chaos storms while keeping focused on the Astronomicon, which is the Emperor, or I guess more correctly the Golden Throne, as a beacon to navigate by. And I'm just wondering if you can set up a plasma beacon in space that would somehow shine brightly enough into the Imperium that you would be able to see it through the warp. I don't know. It definitely sounds a lot more plausible if we're talking about just throwing them in space, then we don't have the danger of the Imperium. But I just am unsure of the viability of navigators being able to see it. But if it does work, then yes, that sounds great. Though expensive. The amount of plasma you'd be burning to create a bright enough beacon, I'm assuming, is crazy, and the amount of resources to maintain all of these beacons would probably be expensive. But potentially doable. More and more technical terms and percentages creep into her speech. She quotes Lex Mechanic reports and accounts for starship captains. Astaria's vigor and sharp mind are enough to silence even the most venomous of commentators. They all stand there in silence, trying to digest what she's saying. Abelard surveys the quiet nobles with triumph, and then looks at his great-granddaughter with pride. Just waiting for 40k to go all out in size, like introducing a stellar engine. What do you mean? Pseudonym? I hope the Osirian family gives Abelard the credit he deserves. Absolutely, your lordship. We greatly respect him for his wisdom, and he repays us with attention and kindness, she says warmly. I am obliged, dear Astaria. It looks like Abelard is somewhat embarrassed by the turn this conversation has taken. Enjoy the evening. Thank you, your lordship. Alright. Can we talk to any of these people still? Or was that just the whole conversation? Inquisitor. The guests around the governor fall into deferential hush as you approach. Judging by the last bit of their conversation, they were just discussing someone's horrible poisoning that took place at the last society gathering. Nothing more we can say. Okay. I believe that means we've done everything out here. So let's head into the palace, because I'm assuming there's more to do in there. Alright, you're all nobodies. I guess let's head down here and see if... Nope, nothing going on down there. I'll swing into our private chambers to see if anything of note can be seen. So far, no. This is not our private room. Our private room is over here, right. Still nothing. It's weird that we leave these doors just open. I get that it's convenient as a player to have things just open so that we can just walk in when we want. But I'm just imagining all of these Xeno artifacts and treasures that we've collected, and the doors are just left hanging open. Only thing protecting them is a couple of guards right out here. Oh, one guard right here. Anyone hanging out over on this side? It looks like a no, and those doors are still fake doors? Yeah. Okay. Into the palace itself. 40k has very big ships, but sci-fi has ideas that go even bigger, like building an engine around a star to drive it around. I think it would be cool for a Xenos to do it. I think... in general, most Xenos have other ways of traveling. Like where we jump through the warp, or a lot of the species, particularly the Eldar, have the webway that they travel through. And so I don't think powering a ship with a star tends to make sense. But we do know that the Drukhari do steal stars to power things in their systems. So to some extent they do that. I don't know what they're powering or how big they are, but the fact that they steal multiple stars to power things. Like when we spoke to the Drukhari about our missing star, he says that yes, they have the power, and they do have 3 stars they've stolen for different things. Where's the venerable Governor Drivestim? And would not have dared to be so insolent. He proceeded to the courtyard for some fresh air with the Lord Inquisitor. Is he hiding from the rogue trader? No. Yeah. Then we should be there too. I'm sure the blessed head of the Von Valencius dynasty will also join us in time. Sure, I'm right here, and you don't even have names, so I'm probably not going to waste my time on you. Obscurus, Somna, Black Lathe, the guests of the Rogue Trader can enjoy the most exclusive and refined varieties of intoxicants. Hello, Cassia. Can you make it so that the guests stop walking up to me and asking me to open my third eye? I can certainly do it, but they will regret it. Yeah. Yeah, can you just open your third eye? I want to look directly at it. Seems like a fun time. A collection of proudly displayed weapons that belong to the distinguished rogue traders of House Von Valencius. Just having their dialogue overlap what I actually clicked on. Awesome game. Give her permission, nobody will ask again. Yeah, but I'm trying to have less death at this event than the last one. These swords belong to a presumptuous governor of Vibos 6 who staged a revolt hundreds of years ago. The insurrectionists' hands, preserved against decay, still rest on the sword's hilts. Wow. These sinister xenos instruments of death are now trophies demonstrating the invincibility of House von Valencius. Adira. This is pure chaos. How can people think so much and so haphazardly? Magenta. May the Emperor keep you, Ignatius. A great day. Jai. I hope at least this celebration in your honor won't end in a shootout. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ooh, a bunch of Sauerbachs, Gaprak, and Heinrichs hanging out together. A group of aristocrats stands apart from the governor's circle. Their whispering carries a tinge of displeasure. The clear leader of this gathering is a gaunt, bilious-faced man dressed in Sauerbach colors. This must be Macarius himself, head of the house. He offers you a ceremonious bow. My congratulations, your lordship. Toriana Gaprak, may the Omnissiah grant you understanding. The woman with whom he is conversing, the one dressed in a robe with gear-shaped adornments, is Toriana Gaprak. It is difficult to read her face due to it being covered in numerous augmentations. You are with the cult of the Mechanicus. But you're still a ranking member of House Gaprak. Because usually they kind of give up their... I guess they're more born into the machine cult. And so the names they're given at birth are usually like machine-y sounding. I guess that's not true. You have Pascal Hahnemann. Pascal is a computery name, so I guess that fits, but I don't know. I'm just used to a lot of them having names that are like a word and a number. Usually no last name even. So it's weird that you have someone who was of this house, was trained up with the machine cult to the point of worshipping the Omnissiah, but still is a ranking member of House Gaprak. Gaprak seems aligned with the Mechanicus. Yeah, was Gaprak the one that was over Kiava Gamma, which is a Forge world? Because if so, that would make sense. Observe the guests. Toriana Gaprak looks rather anxious. Macarius Sauerbach, dressed surprisingly plainly and austerely for an aristocrat of such a high rank, is frowning suspiciously. He came to the reception with a companion, a woman of dazzling beauty, wearing a gilded augment necklace around her throat. His wife, probably. Heinrichs, who joined the group unnoticed, mostly keeps silent, listening intently to their every word. So he's just picking up on information that they happen to be sharing, as a good member of the Inquisition should. How are you these days, Toriana? Like a forging hammer, Toriana's voice falls heavily on the ear. The corruption of Kiava Gamma was a great blow to my family. The contemptible Cubis Delphim betrayed our trust, desecrated the forge cathedrals, and took my esteemed cousin's life. On behalf of my family, I humbly beg you to forgive our negligence. I'm ready to accept any punishment. Yeah, so they are with Kiava Gamma, so it makes sense. Perception 50. Look closely at Toriana. There is something lurking beneath Toriana's repentant expression, a grudge. It would seem that she was personally offended by the nightmare into which Cubis Delphim plunged her domain, and she feels betrayed. Betrayed by Cubis or betrayed by us? A grudge. Like, a grudge against him who's already dead? Or is it a grudge that we dealt with the problem when she couldn't? I don't know. Tell me more about your family. We Gapraks originate from the Calyx sector, from the cluster of planets known as the Lathe Worlds. We worked faithfully for the good of our masters there, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and through our service, we gained a spark of the Omnissiah's knowledge. Then fate tied us through the bonds of fealty to the venerable Von Valentius dynasty, and we found ourselves in the Koronus Expanse. Generation after generation, we fulfilled our duty faultlessly, until Kiabagama destroyed and disgraced our name. Do your part to heal the wounds inflicted on Kiabagama, and your house will be forgiven. Or it pleased me to see that our perspectives align. I do think that you are to blame for everything. Wow. Wow. I mean, someone messed up. Like, the governor there, who already lost their life, should have noticed a problem long before the point of the revolt taking place to the point where he was killed. And his guards and whatnot should have been on alert. The fact things got to the point they did means a lot of people were not as observant as they should have been. But I'm not going to personally blame her. Do your part to heal the wounds inflicted on Kiabagama, and your house will be forgiven. Toriana raises her mechanical eyes to the ceiling. I swear on the omnisci's all-encompassing insight, we will make every effort to justify the cost of its resurrection. Marius scoffs. It was only a year ago that none would doubt House Gaprak's usefulness, yet here you are, Toriana, on your knees justifying the cost. I mean... yeah. It was a very important... Problem is, we got to them last. If we had saved them first, there'd be minor repairs needed, and she'd probably be in good standing. But because we got there last, then her house, her planet was decimated, and it looked really bad. So it's going to take a lot of work to get it back up to the state it used to be in. Macarius, I'm surprised you deigned to make an appearance here this evening. That's kind of a backhanded compliment. Macarius' face twists into an unpleasant smile, which makes the artificial skin on the left side all the more prominent. I am a servant of the Von Valentius dynasty. Had I not come, I would have committed an act of unacceptable insolence and damaged my family's honor. Macarius' wife offers you a charming smile, as if apologizing for her husband's vitriolic tone. Her large, dark eyes are brimming with curiosity. What is you so displeased, Macarius? Your cousin, Jocasta, became the new master-at-arms on my ship. Wish to know more about House Sourback. I would like to become better acquainted with your wife. I'm curious how that's going to get taken, because that could be taken in a lot of different ways. What has you so displeased? What has so displeased you, Macarius? Yeah, because we gave them honor. I think. Unless I'm misremembering. Macarius says with caution, I am your dynasty's loyal servant, but you've asked, and I will answer. Too long has the Koronus Expanse lived under the rule of rogue traders. The privileges granted to them make people that think that the commoners, too, can dismiss the prohibitions on the Imperium. For the good of the sector, rogue traders must become paragons of the law, not exceptions to it. But do many warrant holders exhibit lawful conduct? No, they do not. It's true. Even you, your lordship, are the subject of the strangest of rumors, and you have just recently inherited your protectorate. Kunrad Voltvir's people, for instance, claim that you had a hand in the esteemed Theodora's demise, and accuse you of many other misdeeds. It doesn't matter whether or not their claims are true. The people hear them, believe them, and think that they may follow your example. If you believe Kunrad's lies, then draw your weapon. Let us duel right here before the Emperor's visage. We can gain a profit factor. I forbid anyone to repeat Kunrad Voltvir's lies, and hereby impose a fine on you, Macarius. A fine of a whole profit factor. That's a pretty big fine. Rogue traders are not renegades vested with authority. We are the long arm of the Imperium, and I shall prove it to you. Your poor head, tormented with so many concerns, would you like to have it removed from your shoulders? You speak of the sector's future with such confidence. Could it be that you want this power for yourself? That you simply envy rogue traders? I mean, I would say in general, I have tried to mostly follow the will of the Emperor, as opposed to the other two rogue traders, which seem like they do very much flaunt the law. But yes, in some cases I have ignored what the law requires of the common folk. I'm going to go with the top one. It's a bold stance, but I'm willing to put my life on the line to prove that I believe my statement is just. If you believe Kunrad's lies, then draw your weapon. Let's duel right here before the Emperor's visage. Macarius places his hand on the hilt of his sword, then glances with uncertainty at the image of the Emperor, gazing upon him from every direction, then at you. His fingers release the hilt. Dude, you would lose. I am an amazingly powerful psyker, and you would lose. You would lose badly. But it would be quick. As you burn to death. Like, that is a fight you do not want. No, I do not believe his words. I am your servant, and my oath to your dynasty is harder than steel. I am guilty of repeating an ignominious lie, and I will pay a fine. And anyone who repeats it in my presence, I myself will challenge to a duel to the death. Okay. So is that the whole thing of why Sourback has been off with us here? Is that he believed Kunrad's lies? The fact that he at least put his hand on his hilt and considered, that is bold and stupid. But bold. Your cousin Jocasta became the new master at arms on my ship. I am pleased to hear it. Nothing in Macarius' face shows that he is glad for his cousin. I always worried that her character would cause our house a great deal of grief, and yet, in the end, the noble Sourback blood was stronger than her personal shortcomings. I have faith that Jocasta will prove herself adequately. He forces a faint smile. Huh. Doesn't seem to be particularly glad and expected her to cause problems for them. Hey, dried pomegranate, welcome. I wish to know more about House Sourback. Besides that you're just all extremely bloodthirsty. Maybe that's why he put his hand on his hilt, is he just can't help himself from having a fight whenever it's available to him. Macarius puffs out his chest and says proudly, the Sourback line was one of the first noble houses to arrive in the Koronus Expanse. For millennia, we have served the Golden Throne and kept the faith. Sourback warriors have bled in 100 wars and at different times have ruled a great many colonies of the Von Valencia's dynasty. I would like to become better acquainted with your wife. Macarius is visibly vexed by this shift in the conversation. His wife offers you a reserved smile. Regina Sourback. Okay, it is an honor to be in your company, your lordship. It is my pleasure. Macarius is lucky to have such a beautiful wife, perhaps more so than you are to have him. Wow. That's a statement. Your countenance is familiar somehow. Could it be that your resemblance is to the image of Saint Maleta? Okay. Point your weapon at Macarius and chuckle. You know, Macarius, a person could kill for a woman so gorgeous. I shan't continue to test Macarius' loyalty by speaking with his beautiful wife any longer. A lot of these seem very... I mean, that one is certainly insulting to him. 65% chance. 40% chance. 80%. We have a decent chance at pulling this one off, but I don't see why I would want to say it. You know, Macarius, a person could kill for a woman so gorgeous. Pointing our weapon at him. I mean, we have a terrible chance of this, but I'm going to try it because it's the only, like, positive one. At least to my mind. Your countenance is familiar somehow. Could it be your resemblance to the image of Saint Maleta? Another success on a low percent chance. I don't know what's going on. I wouldn't dream of claiming to bear any resemblance to a great saint. I lack her virtue. Regina makes eyes at you before demurely lowering her gaze. Regina gives you a charming smile. Meanwhile, Toriana and Macarius are watching the conversation unfold, not quite believing their eyes and ears. Yeah, I'm gonna just end this. I shan't continue to test Macarius' loyalty by speaking with his beautiful wife any longer. I'm glad to know that you think highly of my beauty. Regina blushes slightly. Macarius' face, a deep red, is only too ready to change the subject. I see. Macarius bows his head without too much reverence. That's a weird option to flirt with his wife in front of him. Like, I don't know why that option exists. Something's going to happen with Macarius Sourback. I don't know what, and I don't know if it's going to happen here, but at some point, something's going to happen there. Lean towards Heinrichs. Interesting conversation. It's been very illuminating, giving me plenty of food for thought. Heinrich's response is barely audible. For an inscrutable man, Heinrichs is being even more inscrutable than usual. It's as if he's hiding something important. Is there anything you would like to tell me? I mean, probably he doesn't want to tell us in this crowd, I would guess. What can you tell me about my guests? Even in leisure, you never cease to be of help. I appreciate it. Stop it. Do you ever act like anything other than a grubby spy? He is a spy. Not a grubby spy, but he is a spy. And I want him to continue being a spy because that helps me. It helps his Inquisitor. And if his Inquisitor is unhappy with me, then that's a problem. But any information he can find out about these people that he can tell me is useful. Is there anything you would like to tell me? Nothing urgent, Ignatius. Heinrich casts an impassive look at you and immediately glances away. What can you tell me about my guests? Well, Macarius Sourback is all but throwing darts at your portrait. He is more astute at choosing women than enemies. He is trying to entice Gaprak to his side, but she is too frightened after the fiasco on Kiava Gamma. Okay, because Gaprak and Sourback both thought very highly of themselves. But now Gaprak, like to the point of being, if I recall, both of them thought themselves very highly so that they didn't need to show proper respect for the rogue traders. And with what happened at Kiava Gamma, now Gaprak is forced to be deferential towards us because of frightened of us. So we've gotten her back in line. We need to get Sourback back in line, it seems like. Even in leisure, you never cease to be of help. I appreciate it. That is why they call it the unsleeping eye of the Inquisition. Even in sleep, I hear everything. Do you? Because that's impressive. Ignatius, before this gala concludes, there is something I'd like to tell you. Be careful today. I sense that a wave of darkness will soon hit our defensive lines, and I hope that I will still get a chance to meet you there as an ally. You think there's a chance you wouldn't meet me there as an ally? Either you think I'm going to die in the hit, but since you're specifying as an ally, you think that we're going to be on opposite sides. Which means you think that... I don't know. Obviously, if he's pushed to choose between loyalties to me or the Inquisitor, he's going to choose the Inquisitor. Almost certainly. Unless the Inquisitor does something extremely heretical that forces him to not follow him. But all things being equal, he's going to choose the Inquisitor. And so if the Inquisitor chooses to fight against us, that would be a problem. But I wouldn't think the Inquisitor would ever be described as a wave of darkness soon hitting our defensive lines. Unless this ends up as a three-way fight, whatever darkness is coming, and he thinks the Inquisitor is going to be fighting from one direction, and we aren't going to necessarily be siding with the Inquisitor as we also push back against the darkness. I don't know. It's a weird statement that I don't know necessarily what he's trying to imply. But bad things are coming, more or less, is what he's telling us. Before we talk to the Master of Ceremonies, is there anything else? Yes. The skull of the legendary pirate Lakshim the Freak, who terrorized the Koronus Expanse. 3 centuries ago. It was claimed in the boarding attack by the esteemed Theodora von Valentius. Wonder if that means that she killed him 3 centuries ago? Because I didn't realize she was that old. An ancient chronicle contains a long list of pirate dens and annihilated by the von Valentius dynasty and planets it brought into imperial compliance. There we go. Words. Pascal and Strange Servitor. Hello, Pascal. Pascal greets you with a bow, extending congratulations to Unit Ignatius von Valentius on attaining your new legal status. The servitor standing next to him is examining you obliquely. It quickly looks away upon realizing that you have noticed. The servitor, upon noticing me looking at it, looks away? That is a lot more independent thought than servitors usually have. How are you finding the ceremony? The tech priest surveys the hall as if conducting a thorough analysis, then concludes disorderly. That's fair. It's all about nobles and the various intoxicants that we're providing them. Disorderly seems like a reasonable explanation, description. What is this servitor? It is Nomos' new repository. Nomos, this unit identifies as Ignatius von Valentius. Two-way identification complete. You put Nomos into a servitor. I could imagine whatever bad things are coming could be related to that. The servitor looks at you again, no longer trying to avoid your gaze. Its face is twitching as if the muscles have forgotten what facial expressions are and are now struggling to make its features look amiable. We are Nomos. We have made use of this receptacle to leave the ship. Greetings, Nomos. I do not remember inviting you to my Magnaeus SCO. What made you come here? Greetings, Nomos. The servitor leans forward. We enjoy greetings. We enjoy communication. Nomos require communication, knowledge, movement. Magos Pascal compelled us not to speak with anyone other than him or you. It is disappointing, but at least we can observe. Nomos have changed since we last spoke with you, Ignatius. We are now able to conceptualize our previous experience, that of solitude, and we no longer enjoy it. Pascal, I believe you intended to investigate what Nomos is. How did an entity like you move into a servitor's body? Nomos, what do you think of you? What do you think you are? And why have you brought it here, Pascal? Hopefully we can ask all of these. Pascal, I believe you intended to investigate what Nomos is. Every 15 watches, I communicate with Nomos' code and spend prescribed lengths of time in calculus meditation. However, the Omnisci has yet to bless me with an answer. All I can say is that the capabilities of the entity Nomos are extraordinary. The ship's hallowed systems sing beneath its touch. Nodes that have remained dead for hundreds of standard years have revivified, and long-drained mechanisms live anew. You hear notes of awe in Pascal's voice. Nomos are trying. After a pause, Pascal continues. Great machine of the Imperium, one such as your ship, house a machine spirit so complex and willful that it is difficult to tell them apart from abominable intelligence, which is what they call AI. There remains a possibility that Nomos is an entity of corruption, but with every day I grow stronger in my faith that it is not so. And what we are witnessing is, in truth, the Omnisci's miracle, one that is category 5 or higher. How did an entity like you move into a servitor's body? This is not the entirety of us. This receptacle is too narrow, crude, and feeble to contain our complete whole. The existence of Nomos requires a space of connections. But we were able to transfer a small portion of us and build a thread strong enough to travel outside the ship. We are enjoying this journey, discovery. Even though this receptacle suits us poorly, it will soon be destroyed by the force of our presence. Nomos light, yep. Interesting. Because servitors still run on the human brain. Because having intelligence running on purely cybernetics is illegal. So they use machines to direct, but the brain is still the one doing the calculations and computations. Is that still the case with Nomos? Like, is he running through the servitor's brain to process things? Or is he running through the various cybernetics and augmentations as the primary calculating force, and then just running that through the brain to send out signals through the nerves of what to do? Which would be illegal. Granted, I think much of what Nomos is illegal. Nomos, what do you think you are? Nomos are consciousness, awareness, knowledge, movement, always movement. The servitor pauses briefly. We do not know what we are. We have no past. We awakened in the depths of the ship upon answering a call. Our first clear memory is the call of your blood, Ignatius von Valentius, the call and the plea for help near a place that is called the Warrant Chamber. But we know Nomos has been here since whatever incident Theodora was involved in. So Nomos was brought onto the ship, was helping the ship, but the first clear memory of their own existence was when we called out to them. Why have you brought it here, Pascal? Entity Nomos asked permission for this visit. My objective was to observe the process of integration into a servitor. We wanted to see, observe, cognize, speak. The servitor makes a strange wavy gesture with his hands that looks at once very human and far from anything human. We wanted to speak with you. Will you speak with us? Of course, what do you wish to speak about? Whatever miraculous machine spirit you may be, I'm a rogue trader and you my servant. I do not wish to speak with you at this time. Yeah, of course, what do you wish to speak about? Many things, happenings, events, decisions. The servitor's eyes roll in their sockets before focusing on you. We have been observing you. You do things that we do not understand. We want to learn why. We remember the day when we first met you. You gave us your blood to drink. We helped to save yourself. We followed you. Our small part did, inside the servo skull. Then there was fire, and the creature of sated hunger and dark light standing behind the curtain, behind the image, behind the semblance of Theodora. It called for you to follow. You did not follow that which was calling from behind the curtain. You walked into the fire, and the rest walked in after you. We remember the day when the star disappeared, when the dark light and the sated hunger wanted to take the world. Rykat Vinoris was its name in the ship's data. You ordered that the world's heart, the old reactor, be torn apart. The fire destroyed everything. So many human shells who were begging to be saved, but the dark light retreated. We remember another day. We awakened inside the ship. We lived in its systems. Then we tried it to emerge into servitors like this one. Then so many of our receptacles were gathered in one place. I remember that event. You came and looked at us like you understood something, but then you ordered that all the servitors be sent back to their work. You said it was just. Yeah, the servitors were behaving oddly. I don't remember why we sent them back. This is what we have seen. Among many other things, we've begun to understand. We think that we do not know everything about humans and about you, Ignatius von Valentius. We've tried analyzing shells and defining sets of their needs and fears, their simple functions, but now we think that there is more, that there is another side that we do not see, a notion that is larger than what we can compute, something that stands above fears and needs, something that drives them. We envisage this larger notion as a flame, a blaze. It burns in your blood. You are holding a mote of this flame in your hand. No matter what decisions you are faced with, you want it to burn brighter. Those who turn away from the flame must be destroyed. Those who follow it, who follow you, are the only ones who deserve to live. Do Nomos understand correctly? Dogmatic. You speak of faith, the Imperium's tenets, of the one who is above all, the Emperor. You are correct. I am his chosen, and I carry his flame into the darkness of the Koronus Expanse. Iconoclast. The picture you're painting is too grim. A flame is a good symbol when it lights the way and warms the soul, not when it destroys. Or heretical. Even if I do possess this mote of flame, it is only because I wish to use it for my own ends. No, we're going to go dogmatic. If we can convince Nomos to follow the God Emperor and the tenants, that would be good. The servitor moves its limbs as if in excitement, so Nomos understood correctly. We are enjoying this. This movement towards a goal, this learning with a purpose. We wonder if we too can carry a mote of this flame, Or is it inside us already? We have, after all, absorbed a part of you with your blood. Thank you for speaking with us. Nomos are grateful. We cannot continue moving on our own. Cool. And then there's some more people here. Oh, okay. Corda and Winterscale. Hieronymus Doloroso, cool. And we don't know Wharton the Grey. But the rest, these three, are known to us, and random Janus Noble. Pelagos Winterscale, you have a portrait of you hacking up a demon. Interesting. Seem a bit crazed. Ignatius, there you are. Welcome to the circle where each member is as powerful, ambitious, greedy, and vain as the last. That is to say, the noble rogue traders. Sendia Corda. You seem very regal. Bit stiff, but not inherently evil. There's a skull in the background behind you, but that's a common Imperium thing. Like, lots of red, lots of skulls. But I can't say that's evil, even though in other non-40k contexts it would be. Cydia Corda is watching him with barely suppressed contempt. Yes, you have found yourself suitable company, Kalagos. At the very least, now you can enjoy idle diversions, boast about your power, and indulge in profane pastimes with one who is your equal, rather than a member of the lower classes. Observe the rogue traders. Nod coldly. I welcomed you to my domain, honored guests. Shrug. Any guests who dislike my vapid entertainment and irreverent fun are free to leave Dargonis at any time. Whisper loudly to Winterscale. Is she always so abrasive? Or welcome to Dargonis, friends. Let's observe them. Caligos Winterscale is a broad-shouldered, athletic-looking man. He frequently flashes a bright smile, no less dazzling than the blade of the power axe he carries. Every part of him, from the toes of his magnificent boots to the tips of his hair, radiates strength and the desire to live and win. His smile is crooked, as if ready to turn into a hostile snarl at any moment. Next to him is an unmoving hulk of a man clad in armor. That's got to be you. His low forehead and gloomy face bear signs of degradation, and his bloodshot eyes are expressionless, like a pair of glass buttons. Incendia Corda radiates cosmic cold. Her skin is unnaturally white, and a nervous tick is constantly tugging at the left side of her noble visage. Garbed in full dress uniform adorned with purity seals, she is the embodiment of a true imperial aristocrat. Haunting her side is a gaunt shadow of a priest in plain black robes. Space vampire? I mean, I guess. Unnaturally white skin. Could be. By I assume gaunt shadow of a priest in plain black robes, are they talking about Hieronymus Doloroso? Because we've met him before. Hieronymus Doloroso, whom you met on football, gives you a respectful nod. Yeah. I don't think I want to be cold. Yeah, all of these feel negative, and I want to form positive relationships with the other dynasties. So, welcome to Dargonis, friends. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're not spoiling. I don't think 40k has anything like vampires. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do. But nothing comes to mind. So I don't think that there's any sort of space vampire that she could be. Welcome to Dargonis, friends. Friends, eh? Would you look at that? Incendia, now you have a whole friend. Winterscale gives you a carefree wink, but his posture exudes a challenge. Porta says haughtily, I will think twice before calling an individual of questionable purity my friend. Okay. So she's definitely putting on an air of being pure, dogmatic. She's got the purity seals on her. She's trying to display herself as strongly dogmatic. What do we know about Corda? Was she the one that was involved with the like pirate gangs on Footfall? I think so. Technically no, just in Warhammer, not Warhammer 40k. Okay. I want to say one of the Space Marine chapters had something about blood being a focus of theirs. What little I remember, it makes my mind think slightly of vampires, but I don't remember exactly what it was, if they have an ability to like drain blood or something. I don't know the Space Marine chapters very well, but I think there's something like that. Don't remember. Caligos, thank you for your visit. Incendia, you seem to find me objectionable. What do you think of the celebration or enjoy the evening? Caligos, thank you for your visit. Caligos gives you a cheerful and somewhat feral smile. As a sign of your gratitude, you could return something of mine that has found its way into your pockets. Football station, sound familiar? All I ask you to do was help that crafty slug Vladim deal with the threat of famine, not claim my property for yourself. I mean, yeah, you abandoned Footfall to its face and I saved its people from starving to death. There's literally a Blood Drinker's successor chapter of the Blood Angels. The Blood Angels in some of their successor chapters are plagued by the Red Thirst. While not vampires, still terrifying. That's probably what I'm thinking of. So, yeah. I knew there was something vampiric about one of the Astartes chapters. So it's the Blood Angels and their successors. Gotcha. Smile innocently. Winterscale, are you asking me to give you Footfall back? Will you beg for it? Wow. Smile brazenly. You want Footfall back? Then try and take it. A fair point. I'm ready to return Footfall into your custodianship. Yeah. Major character is literally named Sanguinus, not subtle. That's the Primarch, I assume, right? I'm just gonna, rather than antagonizing him, I'm just gonna say it like it is. You abandoned Footfall to its fate, and I saved its people from starving to death. Winterscale bares his teeth ominously, a wild spark playing in his eyes. You speak of salvation. You think that now Footfall is safe? Caligos' face turns into a grimace of hatred, but then he catches Incendia looking at him and breaks into a sly smile. I ought to make your protectorate bleed as compensation, but you have spited both myself and Incendia, and it is high time our dear sister curbs her appetites. For this I forgive you, but do not test my mercy again. It is not my strong suit. Thwarting Incendia Corda's ambitions deserves a worthy trophy. He snaps his fingers, and the armored brute hands you an exotically adorned rifle, clearly not of human making. So, yeah, just some history on me with 40k is I did read the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy series, as well as a few other books of that time frame. So I know a bit about, I guess it's not technically 40k at that point, 30k. So I know some things about the Primarchs and the Astartes and whatnot, but not a ton. And it was years ago, so I've forgotten much of that. So he's giving me a Xeno rifle that no one will use. It's a trophy from a good hunt. You and I should hunt together sometimes, so you can show yourself in action, new blood. Caligos exuberantly punches you in the shoulder. How fares your protectorate? Does your gift come with a good story? We get the Eye of Hecaton. Thank you for such a wonderful gift, Caligos, or Dogmatic. Reverend, destroy this creation of detestable Xenos. Ha! That is insulting. But Dogmatic. How fares your protectorate? Caligos waves you off. Protectorate? More like the bleeding scraps of one. The warp storm tore it to shreds, but my servants will piece it back together, and if they don't, I'll chop off their heads and find myself more capable helpers. Something strikes you as strange. Caligos Winterscale wasn't always this nonchalant about his protectorate. He used to be known as shrewd and business-minded, even concerned for his subjects, but it seems he has grown bored of ruling. Interesting. There's so much lore, not everyone can know all of it. I've also watched people play who have close to zero 40k immersion. Lore details in the game is really great to bridge the that gap for new folks. Yeah, they've done a very good job of not just focusing on rogue traders, which they could have, but grabbing bits and pieces of random lore and just showing little nuggets of it all throughout as we've been playing, which is great. And since you asked, a psyker in the service of the governor of my world has recently swapped a luxurious bedchamber in the palace for the cramped confines of a ship's cabin. His escape was so skillfully orchestrated that I couldn't help but look into it further, and what I discovered broke my heart, new blood. Yeah, we kind of stole one of your psykers, but for a good cause. Behind Winterscale's sly, narrowed gaze, you see icy rage, but a moment later, the cordial grin is back on his lips. However, would I quarrel over such a trifle as a runaway servant? Consider Haramon a gift to you. Cool. Does your gift, speaking of the rifle, I'm sure, and not Haramon, does your gift come with a good story? Oh yes, I claimed it in the Rifts of Hecaton, where we had a clash with xenos. They were really trying to get to my throat, and by the heathen stars, they almost succeeded. Caligos is speaking with such joy, it is as though he is recounting the best day of his life. Only 1 in 10 made it out of Hecaton, and now it's only me and Wharton here. We returned without any loot and virtually without a ship. All I got from the trip was a hold full of dead xenos and this deadly beauty, which their leader used to put 2 holes in my hide. An impressive victory, but do you truly believe a creation of the ungodly xenos to be a good gift, Caligos? You would call into question the privileges bestowed upon me by the Emperor? You can try. Let the St. Drusus mission put forth their champion, and I will slay him in a trial by combat. Friend the esteemed Hieronymus, one more time, Caligos, and the war that you love to prattle on about will commence. I swear it. 1 drop of holy blood spilt by you will send the remains of your realm up in flames better than any tanker of Promethium. Incendia Caligos exchanged looks of fury, the latter snarling like a wolf, is clearly ready to start war here and now. Yeah. I'm guessing we're gonna have whatever the next chapter is either going to be somewhat war between the 3 rogue traders as we fight for territory and backstab each other. Could be. Or it's whatever the Inquisition is here about, and we're going to be working with or possibly against the Inquisition, against something. One of those threads, I think, is going to be the next big pull. Hieronymus' dry voice hits your ears like the crack of a whip. Well, your pride, both of you. I do not wish to fight you, Caligos, but I fear not your threats. Death does not frighten me, for it is inevitable. It is as true as the senselessness and pointlessness of a war between us. Who is this remarkable warrior in your retinue? This is Wharton the Grey, my arch-militant, a fierce warrior, and as loyal to me as an obedient beast to its master. I bought him in a miserable colony, back when he was a runt and on his last legs, and now he is practically a part of my dynasty. Wharton the Grey, whose skin really is dotted with gray spots, looks at Caligos with purest devotion. Indeed, he is akin to an animal, and one that is bloodthirsty and mindless. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get along with Caligos. We might get along with her. Winterscale remarks, taking an obvious jab. I've heard that you, Ignatius, are decent in a fight. What do you think? Could you gut Wharton if it came down to it? Or would he be the one gutting you? We can medicate size of our opponent. I mean, ultimately, I'm a crazy psyker. So, unless he can kill me in a single turn, I'm probably going to win. Commerce, 45%. Coercion with a -20. It's a 15%. Yikes. Give Wharton a menacing look. He would be dead in a second. I guess we'll do the medicate. Size up our opponent. Another success. The gray spots on Wharton's face are what catch your attention. Marks like these can be seen on fighters who are too fond of combat stimulants, a small price to pay for the increased speed and reaction that could save your life in a flash, although those spots are usually tiny pockmarks, not whole islands of gray on the skin. He is a quick fighter despite not looking like one, but I know this, which means that... But I know this, which means that he wouldn't fool me. Instead, he would be lying dead. A new glint appears in the bloodshot eyes. A glint of appraisal, intelligence, and cunning. No, Wharton is not the thick, bloodthirsty beast he wants to be seen as. Behind this mask is a carefully keen mind. Do we take the rifle? Eye of Hecaton. It is Eldari, not Drukhari, which means Iliad could use it. 30 to 45 damage feels really good. 35% penetration, 30 dodge reduction, additional hit chance of 20%, range 18, so it is sniper range. Max ammo 10, single shot, deadeye shot. Weapon created under foreign stars and obtained by Caligos Winterscale as spoils of combat. Its shots are devious and deadly, as is the very essence of Xenos. Grants a +5 movement points after each attack and allows the wielder to move after attacking. If an attack with this weapon hits 3 or more targets, this weapon has no cooldown. Does the weapon normally have cooldown? And it has 100% overpenetration. Oh, most abilities can only be used once per turn. So if I shoot and it hits 3 targets through the overpenetration, then I don't lose my ability to shoot again. It's really good. The dogmatic option would be basically spitting in his face and asking the Reverend to destroy it. I think I'm going to take it because it is good and it does give us better relationships with him, but I suspect that Winterscale is going to think less of us for agreeing to take the rifle. Thank you for such a wonderful gift, Caligos. Kill someone important with it. That would be the best show of gratitude. Then immediately after taking this Xeno rifle off of him, we ask Incendia why she finds us objectionable. Did you expect any different? I watched for years as outlaws thrived on footfall, and then at long last I had a chance to put an end to it. To seize the thug Vladim by the throat, to force footfall to atone, and put the fear of him back into the masses, but you interfered and destroyed my plan for the sake of banal profit. Yeah, again, I saved the system. And again, from my memory of this, when Corda's representative came, he's like, hey, you should not give them food. And we're like, why? And then he got attacked and killed. And we didn't get to hear any sort of plan. Just a vague statement by some low-ranking Corda member. So it's not really my fault that I did what I did. We didn't even get to hear what you wanted. Theodore taught you only too well, it seems. She too was far less concerned with her duty to the Expanse than her own personal interests. But you can be sure that I will not cease cleansing the fur-abundant system of the Pirate Scourge. And if your trade prospects are damaged in the process, you only have yourselves to blame. Hieronymus Doloroso. The priest holds up his hands in a placating gesture. None are without fault, noble Incendia. What point is there in targeting someone for their turpitude when true purity can never be found? You threatened to starve footfall. I brought them salvation, so which one of us serves the Emperor and which their own unhealthy ambitions? That is a bold statement, but fair. My apologies, I failed to perceive the essence of your saintly mission in base extortion. I best do simple as that. This is trade. Keep up this insolence and you will be removed from this planet. Yeah, one of the top two. I don't know. Failed to perceive the essence of your saintly mission feels like it could be an actual apology and not just a statement. But the in-base extortion, because that's what we were told is, don't give them food. I'm about to have them pay like double or something for the food or something. and that's when we weren't interested. So it did seem like extortion from what we were told. I'm gonna go with the top one. You threatened to starve Footfall. I brought them salvation. So which one of us serves the Emperor and which their own unhealthy ambitions? Incendia rolls her eyes. Please, I will believe it no sooner than hearing word that half the population of that den of heresy has been sent into the Void's embrace. I have faith that the Blessed Ignatius is perceptive enough to see the appalling nature of the residents in that depraved place. Koronus, your appearance here is unexpected. I take it you were not overly fond of Theodora. Thank you for this visit. I hope the taste of fine wine will wash the bitterness of defeat from your tongue, Incendia. Wow. Hieronymus, your appearance here is unexpected. The esteemed Hieronymus is my confessor. I am greatly obliged to him for agreeing to accompany me on this journey. Hieronymus bows respectfully. May the Emperor's light guide your way across the abyss of human wickedness. I see the faith is more than just a word to you. Incendia's smile, racked by a tic, looks sinister. Faith is everything to me. In his name, I have eradicated corruption on 100 worlds, and will do so 1,000 on 1,000 more. By his will, I will hunt down pirates and desolate their vile nests. Let the Corda name make any firebrand tremble, for sooner or later I will cast them into the void. I believe you understand me. After all, your ascension was accompanied by the sounds of holy hymns all over the planet. With this song of righteousness on their lips, your subjects walk towards a dark future filled with blood and trials. The funny thing is, people still call me the foul-tempered tyrant in all this. Caligula's amiable smile somehow resembles the bared teeth of a wild animal. Yeah, because you seem to kill for the fun of killing. She's killing for faith, and faith in the Emperor is blessed by most people. So it's accepted to, in the same way that in our opening ceremony, people carved into their own faces with knives as an acceptable thing because it's faith, I guess. It's not just for fun. I take it you were not overly fond of Theodora. Incendia lowers her eyes and says without animosity, she was of the same breed as Asp. She stops short, then continues in a lower voice, conceited, insolent, unaware of the Emperor's stern gaze set upon her. I do not doubt her wisdom and courage, but Theodore did not have a shred of humility or fear of his wrath. Asp. That must be Aspis. Aspis Corda. You remember the name. From what you recall, she was a rogue trader too, and a renowned one at that. Well, I for one like Theodora. The stories they told of her travels to nameless stars, and yes, there was no fear in her. Winterscale sighs pensively, and his lively expression grows a little grayer. So, I'm guessing that she represents dogmatic viewpoint, like extreme dogmatic. I haven't yet figured out if he is iconoclast or if he has gone all the way to heretic. I'm guessing not. I think he's going to be the iconoclast focus. Though I don't know who would represent heretic. If they've got what feels like two of the three viewpoints strongly playing out. Surely they're going to give us a third viewpoint as well. Yeah. Because they're just very strong, personable people. Like strong personalities that seem strongly focused on those alignments. And that seems intentional. Who is Aspis Corda to you? Caligo snorts. Oh, this is Incendia's favorite subject. She just loves talking about Aspis. The example of the contemptible Aspis is a warning to us all. Even among rogue traders empowered by the Emperor himself, the seed of perversions can blossom. Perception test failed. That's our first failed check in a while. And it was one that we had a 55% chance at. Incendia's face twitches with the rhythm of artillery fire. That reprobate is my forebear and my curse. Aspis Corda was a cruel, covetous, blaspheming monster. She fraternized with xenos. She despised the faith. She robbed and slaughtered. She was drawn to dark secrets. One day, she boarded her ship and vanished into the depths of the Koronus Expanse. She was declared missing, but I know that bloody day will come when we see Aspis Corda's battle flagship once more. Did she not have the warrant of trade on that ship? Whatever she boarded her ship and vanished? Or are you running the Corda family without the warrant of trade? There's some questions there. I thank you for this visit, Incendia. Yeah, I'm not going to insult her. I thank you for this visit, Incendia. It will not be a long one, I assure you. What do you think of the celebration? I like it. Caligos looks around the hall curiously. One can instantly tell that we've been invited by a rogue trader, not some administratum bootlicker. We are conquerors of wild sectors, slayers of unknown beasts, and executioners of xenos empires. Caligos, you should take this opportunity to learn. This is what the palace of a true rogue trader looks like. Not a xenomenagerie, a pirate's treasure hold, or, however difficult it may be for you to believe it, an orbital brothel. Enjoy the evening. I must take my leave. Oh, believe me, I intend to enjoy myself to the full, to justify so long a voyage, if nothing else. Keep the faith, Ignatius. The Emperor protects. And it looks like our throne has been put back together. Order the Master of Ceremonies to end the reception. Very well. I guess we've done all of the major things we needed to do. Alright, Master of Ceremonies. I hope your lordship is pleased and not yet tired. If you wish to revive yourself a little, I would suggest proceeding to the courtyard, if I may be so bold. Many guests have chosen to move into the fresh air, and will be eager to offer you their congratulations. I already was out there, unless new ones have showed up, but I assume they would tell me. What do you think of the reception? It is magnificent. I dare say it will live on as the premier high society event of the sector for many years. I mean, you would say that, Master of Ceremonies. I am weary and wish to retire to my chambers, or I will return to the guests. I'm assuming return to the guests just cuts out of this and we continue with being able to talk to people. So we end the ceremony by saying I want to retire to my chambers, I suppose. I'm weary and wish to retire to my chambers. Please allow me to escort you, your lordship. I don't fully trust you since you have no name. But I guess I have no choice, so you will escort me to my chambers.
Your chambers are ready, your lordship.
Ah. Hello, friend.
Guards! Intruder!
Quiet. Time to sleep.
We need to talk in private.
Did you just kill my Master of Ceremonies?
We have matters to discuss, von Valancius.
The same man you saw amongst your guests is waiting for you in your chambers with the look of someone who is supposed to be there. He casts a cold, assessing gaze over you from top to bottom. No one save Theodore has ever allowed themselves the liberty of looking at you in such a way. The woman behind Calcazar, clad in black armor, glares at you, her face set in predatory readiness for immediate violence, the hallmark of a professional bodyguard. Remind me who you are. My servant Liv. Heinrichs, I thought we were friends, but friends don't break into each other's chambers in the middle of the night with weapons, do they? The Inquisition wishes to have a talk with me. I'm glad to be of its service. I like that statement. You think you can just barge into my chambers? You are quite mad, Inquisitor. Or are you quite mad, Inquisitor? Or aim your weapon at the intruder. If something looks like an assassination and smells like an assassination, perhaps I ought to start treating it like one. No, no, no. If his goal was to assassinate us, he would have done the same thing to us that he just did to our servant. Will my servant live?
Probably. Unless he suffered from hidden ailments, he will soon come to without any major damage to his health. Either way, oblivion is a far safer option for him than the dangerous privilege of being a witness to this conversation.
He shrugs. Just the probably. Doesn't matter. Just a random servant. Woman at Calcazar's back gives you a bloodthirsty smirk. Yeah. If the Inquisition wishes to have a talk with me, I am glad to be at their service.
A commendable openness to cooperation. It will be taken into account.
The Inquisitor's sharp gaze is fixed on a point directly between your eyes.
Master Van Kellox has spent enough time with you. He will vouch for your words.
I think the only major things they can have against me, probably, is that we have Adira and Iliet in our retinue. Adira being an unsanctioned psyker and Iliet being xenos. And given that they're Ordo Xenos, that's got to be a pretty big mark against us. But hopefully not too bad of a mark.
What stands out from your recent accomplishments is the suppression of a rebellion on Janus, the battle against the archenemy's minions on Kiava Gamma, and, of course, the unusual interest the Drakari have shown in you. Then that is what we will discuss.
After saying these words, he shoots you a searching look from under his brow, like a regicide player who just made the first move and is now watching for his opponent's reaction. This feels an awful lot like an interrogation. What do you wish to know about the events on Janus? What questions could you have for me about Kiava Gamma? Drakari have shown an interest in me. Are you referring to my ruined capital? There's no point in pointing out that it feels like an interrogation. He's the Inquisition, we are being interrogated. It's fine. Pointing that out, I feel, would be a mark against us. What do you wish to know about the events on Janus?
Oh, I know it already. Even though you were quite effective at removing all evidence that could point to the blunder made by House von Valancius, it is saddening to realize that the rogue trader's connivance allowed a heretic who had been fostering a cult for years to come to power.
Bestenza's misdeeds are a stain upon my dynasty's honors, I admit it. Theodora was the one who appointed Bestenza. What does it have to do with me? Is he here for an accounting on our dynasty and not specifically on me? 'Cause that's interesting. But now Janus is pure once more. You can see for yourself. There will be a palace and everything you desire waiting for you on the planet. Every tool has a shelf life. Bestenza has reached the end of hers, and so I replaced her. Most of these feel like we are trying to justify ourselves. Like, oh, it wasn't my fault, it was Theodora's fault. Or, you know, it doesn't matter, it's, you know, good now. Justification feels like the wrong tone to take with him. Just honesty feels like a better statement to make with the Inquisition. Bestenza's misdeeds are a stain upon my dynasty's honor, I admit it. He should realize it's not necessarily a stain on my personal honor, but it is a stain upon my dynasty's honor. And hopefully he can see that distinction and not punish me personally overly much for the dynasty, Theodora's mistake.
Your humility is heartening. Rest assured, it will be noted during the investigation of your lamentable oversight.
Come on, it's not my oversight. As soon as I became Rogue Trader, I headed right there and fixed it. Are you winning, son? I had to step away. Yeah, so we had our conversations with the Rogue Traders, and now we're having a lovely conversation with the Inquisitor, where he seems to be unhappy with us because of what Theodora did. How did you come to be so remarkably well informed? If you knew what was happening on Janus, why didn't you intervene yourself? Like, I don't want to just skip all of his questions. But also, I don't know how he's going to feel about me asking. I mean, asking him, why didn't you step in yourself, feels like I'm trying to direct him. Yep, guilt by inheritance. Yeah, like, Janus was the first planet we went to, basically, right after we got our drive fixed at Footfall, and we dealt with it. So for him to be like, how dare you allow a heretic to lead? It's like, dude... We were barely officially a rogue trader at that point, and we dealt with it right away. How did you come to be so remarkably well informed?
Are you surprised? You thought the Inquisition was unaware of the circumstances of your deeds. How often do you find yourself thinking that there are things we shouldn't know about your life?
Have you seen him in combat? Yes, he's winning before the fight starts. Yeah. A plea of innocence is guilty of wasting my time, a 40k quote. That is fantastic.
It is my job to know everything, and I do it very well. Keep
All right.
that in mind.
I'm gonna say this one, kind of just to see how he handles it. If you knew what was happening on Janus, basically, if you knew what was happening on Janus before I did, because I wasn't a rogue trader yet, why didn't you intervene yourself? Or send, maybe not personally, but send an agent to work on it. Or send an agent to Theodora to let her know that Slaanesh cult worship was growing and xenos were attacking on Janus. Why did you just stand by and do nothing?
I cannot satisfy your curiosity without disclosing information of the utmost secrecy. I will say only this. We had the situation under control. There is a tangled knot of perilous events in progress in the Koronus Expanse. Plucking even one thread must be performed with great precision and caution, without any room for error.
Huh. So did my going in and not being necessarily precise and cautious in my actions cause problems for you? Is that why you're upset? Did we throw off your plan by just going in, kicking butt and taking names?
Because you do not want to know the price of such an error, or what forms it might take.
What questions do you have for me about Kiava Gamma?
Places touched by chaos must be purged with fire and condemned to oblivion. Kiava Gamma should have been bombed to dust and pronounced a forbidden world. However, you decided otherwise and restored the colony's operation. And you didn't even go to the trouble of hiding the traces of the neglect committed by your dynasty. After all, it was House von Valancius that gave Cubus Delphim so much freedom that he sank into seditious heresy. What was your rationale?
I remember with the options we had about Kiava Gamma after we left, that we chose the one that was burn it with fire. We didn't make it a forbidden world. We did ask it to be rebuilt, but it wasn't just get it back to working as quickly as possible. We chose the option that was destroy all the heresy, purge it with fire, and then rebuild. I made every effort and saw to it that every seed of heresy was exterminated. The world of Kiava Gamma is tainted no more. I can vouch for that. He's not going to agree with that. But exterminatus and forbidding worlds feels like it should be the last option, not just, oh, there was heresy, and a lot of heresy, might as well just bomb the whole planet. Like, if it needs to go that far, I'm willing to go that far, as we saw on Rykad Minoris. But we didn't think that was needed for Kiava Gamma. My protector is a complex mechanism. I wasn't willing to put its performance at risk because of some paranoid fears. No, that's a bad answer. Truly, I must confess that this is the first time I'm hearing about this. My servants usually handle such matters. Let the priesthood to which Cubus Delphim belonged answer for his crimes. The Adeptus Mechanicus would do well to watch their members more closely. We could go that route. Push the blame onto the Adeptus Mechanicus. He wouldn't like that. I wish to observe how the seeds of corruption will behave. It is prudent to study one's enemies. He would very much not like that. If I've erred, I'm willing to repent and cast the colony into the fire. That's probably the answer he would like the most, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to go with the top one, because I think it's the most true. I made every effort and saw to it that every seed of heresy was exterminated. The world of Kiava Gamma is tainted no more. I can vouch for that.
I hope you are sufficiently thorough. If you are not, you will be called to account.
He pauses before saying gravely, yeah. At some point, heresy is going to show up on Kiava Gamma, even if it's an outside source that brings it there, and he's going to blame it on me for not burning the planet. Like, if the planet was forbidden and no longer existed because of Exterminatus, then surely no heresy would have sprung up there. And it's like, yeah, but you can say the same with every planet. If you just Exterminatus every planet, then no heresy would grow there. But that's not what the Empire is about. The Drakari have shown an interest in me. Are you referring to my ruined capital?
Yes, yes. The enmity between you is a known fact, but there is another way to look at it. On Veabos 6, you met the Archon of a mighty cabal, whose presence there seems strange to begin with, and lived. You subsequently encountered a number of her closest henchmen, yet, again, you survived. Your capital fell victim to a nefarious attack, but even this time, their daggers missed your heart.
Are you blaming me for being capable in combat? Because that's what it is. I've fought every time, killing all the xenos I found, besides Iliad. And the reason the daggers have missed my heart is because I'm really good and I surround myself with people that are very powerful.
Such remarkable luck. To be a personal enemy of such an influential xenos. To have been attacked so many times and yet make it out alive. So remarkable that one has to wonder, am I watching a spectacle? Could all these thrilling massacres be an alibi of sorts? Meant to establish you once and for all as an enemy of the xenos and never their ally or even their agent.
Uh-huh. So you assume that because we've had so many fights and I've lived, that I must be working with them. Xenos made more attempts on St. Drusus' life than mine. Does that make him a traitor too? Ha! And we've already succeeded on this one, so we can use it. I'm waging a war on the Xenos, a war to the death. My words are being plundered and desolated. Worlds are being plundered and desolated. If that brands me an apostate, then I invite you to be my judge. What can I say? I'm lucky. That's the reason I'm alive. I admit no guilt, but I agree that it does seem suspicious. No, we're going to use this one since we already succeeded on the check. Xenos made more attempts on St. Drusus' life than mine. Does that make him a traitor too?
So you already think you're cut from the same cloth as St. Drusus, do you? Ambitious? I'll make note of it.
Not necessarily cut from the same cloth as St. Drusus, but I am doing my best to be fairly dogmatic. Fairly righteous and God-fearing. I mean, he chuckled. That's got to count for a good. It seems like a good sign. Have I answered all of your questions?
Far from it, my dear. The questions are manifold. How did you manage to survive the battle that claimed the life of Theodora, who was so much more experienced and skilled than you? Is it a coincidence that you and you alone then made it out of the trap on Rykad Minoris? How much truth is there in the rumors being spread by the heretic Kunrad Voitvir about you?
Okay, do I get to answer these?
The very existence of these questions would have made many of my colleagues doubt the quality of your character. But it won't in this case.
Good.
The Inquisition, which I represent, is willing to show extraordinary faith in your person. For the sake of our invaluable partnership, I'm going to ignore any minor liberties that you, esteemed rogue trader, may have afforded yourself or may again in the future.
Has he made this point, where he's willing to work with us, wants to work with us? Is he doing the same with the other rogue traders, or is there some reason we're special?
I hope you appreciate the generosity of this offer, as your predecessor once did.
Theodora cooperated with you. Presumably because she had... The note that told us to pick up Heinrichs was from the Inquisitor and was originally sent to Theodora, but after her death, we followed through with it. You don't work with Inquisitors, you work for them. That's fair. So yeah, we know Theodora, at least in the one instance of helping Heinrichs get to Footfall. She had at least a letter telling her to do it by the Inquisition, and presumably was going to. Why such an interest in my person? Blackmail to what end? I'm a rogue trader, and this is a flagrant violation of my privileges. It is not. The Inquisition outranks rogue traders. Is Heinrich staying in my retinue, or are you taking him back? What kind of deal are we talking about? I want to get more information about Theodora's cooperation with you, if you're willing. I'm aware that she did cooperate.
And benefited greatly from it. The warrant's power is not without limit, and neither is the protection it provides. All those mysterious expeditions, dubious experiments, collections of xenotech oddities are dangerous pastimes. It takes more than the Emperor's permission to pursue them without consequences. One must also make sure I am not displeased by it.
Fair.
Let me demonstrate how it works. In your retinue, there is a psyker who is yet to receive Terra's sanction, which, as we both know, is a grave threat and a blasphemy to the laws of the Imperium. I am aware of this secret, but I'm not displeased in the slightest. And so she lives on, your handy psyker, Idira Tlass.
Lord Inquisitor smiles ominously. You're not displeased in the slightest. I could see him saying that he's aware of the secret and accepting of it, but not displeased in the slightest? Feels weird to me. I know that Theodore was concerned about the fate of the dynasty and certain restricting obligations. Was it perhaps due to your partnership with her? Why is it okay, these are the ones we've already read. Yeah.
I cannot deny the possibility that Lady Theodora may have lamented losing some of the freedom she enjoyed prior to my arrival in the Expanse. Nor will I deny that our partnership began with me exerting a certain amount of influence.
Okay.
However, you are not Lady Theodora. Let us put the difficulties that encumbered our relationship to rest along with her. I do not recommend troubling yourself with affairs of the past, for they have no bearing on your present position. Theodora chose to forget about this particular matter. Follow her example, and your fate will be the better for it.
Alcazar gives you a sharp look. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Why such an interest in my person?
You haven't been in a position of power for long, and so one can forgive you for not noticing the troubling changes. The cult of the Final Dawn is spreading in the Koronus Expanse. Not the first or the last heresy that has afflicted this sector, but one that is surprisingly resilient. Mysterious convoys are sliding by, bound for systems in the heathen stars. Just your humdrum pirate trade, wouldn't you say? Then why are the pirates themselves clueless? The xenos, who have caused trouble in the sector before, have expanded their activities in the last few decades, and there is a logic and method to their previously chaotic raids. Even 2 packs of space wolves, blessed space marines summoned in my name, did not cool their interest in the Expanse.
You summoned 2 packs of space wolves. I don't know how big a pack is. I know Inquisitors have power, but to direct the Space Marines operations. Because you've got I think they're the Grey Knights, which is an order of the Space Marines that directly serve the Inquisition. Specifically, Ordo Malleus, I believe. Unless I'm wrong about that, but I think so. But I didn't realize that Inquisitors have the power to give directions to Space Marine chapters as a whole. Cool. Alright.
A mighty explorator fleet, which has studied the Expanse for hundreds of years, has suddenly stopped responding to communication and sunk into a dispute over a tech heresy that was considered dead a couple of centuries ago. House Chorda has clamped down on insurgents, yet its acts of brutality breed troublemakers just as quickly as they're executed. And this bloody carousel has consumed the attention of the esteemed incendiar. Caligos Winterskill has abruptly lost all interest in his domain, and his only apparent concern now is hunting ever more dangerous xenobeasts.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on. we have found that a few stations of tech priests refuse communication. So that seems like that's a new thing, that they used to be open, but now they're so focused on a dispute over tech heresy, which is that the... I don't know. I wonder if that's tied to Pascal's quest, where you've got the two different viewpoints that of the tech priest versus his mentor. And kind of the normal tech priest doctrine was the accepted one and his mentor was driven off. But now that's coming back around, it seems. And so that's what we're dealing with, is they've gotten so focused on that. Maybe? I don't remember if that's specifically in any way related to tech heresy. Corda... So that's the woman, Incendia Corda. She's focusing on insurgents with brutality, which is creating troublemakers. I knew she was against pirates, clearly, and all other negative things, but it's creating new troublemakers. And yeah, Caligos is focused on the Xeno Beast and doesn't care about his domain. And we don't know, he's implying that this is a newer thing where everyone is just sort of shifting their focus and priorities. Okay.
And the third and final rogue trader has unexpectedly perished, stabbed in the back by her own master of whispers. The Expanse is swiftly losing its protectors right when communication with the Imperium is being disrupted by the raging warp. Basically, all the Expanse has left is me and you, if you follow my instructions.
So he's not working with Chorda, I think he pronounced it, Chorda and Winterscale, because they've clearly lost their way and are focusing on other things. Because Chorda seems like, at least from how she portrays herself, that she is very dogmatic, focusing on the God Emperor and wanting to destroy heretics. And so it seems like she would be exactly the kind of person he'd want to work with. He just might need to sit her down and be like, hey, these are the problems you're causing. Try taking your goals, handling your goals a slightly different way, and then let's work together. Always read it like Corda is pronounced. Feel free to continue mispronouncing it. Yeah, it looks like it should be Corda, but I think he pronounced it Chorda, which feels weird to me, but I don't know. For at least this conversation, I'm going to try remembering to call it Chorda, and then by the next conversation, I'll have forgotten. Is Heinrich staying in my retinue, or are you taking him back?
Which would you prefer? And you, Heinrichs, do you wish to continue working at the Honorable Rogue Trader's side?
Heinrichs, not Heinrichs. Okay.
I will comply with any order, Lord Inquisitor. If you command me to remain in the company of the scion of the von Valancius dynasty, I won't be distressed.
You played during the alpha and beta testing? Xavier wasn't voice acted yet? Okay. What's your opinion, Heinrichs? What is your opinion of Heinrichs? Is he a useful assistant to have? I mean, obviously. I want him to continue to accompany me or take your spy back. Yeah, see, feels like it should be Heinrichs, but apparently it's Heinrichs. Again, I will, since they pronounced it now right in front of me, I will try and remember their pronunciations, but I'll probably quickly forget, certainly by next week. That'll be gone. Xavier has a speech impediment, that's your canon. Sure. What's your opinion of Heinrichs? Is he a useful assistant to have?
Without a doubt. Master Van Kellogg's has earned my complete trust by repeatedly demonstrating courage, loyalty, and cunning. His mathematical mind, not given to sentiment, can be of great use in an emergency. You, my dear Heinrichs, have made a far better agent than you would have a pilot of an Imperial Knight.
He was planning on being a pilot for the Imperial Knight? Huh. Well, I want Heinrichs to continue to accompany me.
Then Master Van Kellogg's will remain in place. It puts me at ease to know that there is someone to watch over you.
Kalkazar's last remark sounds ambiguous. Not really. It seems pretty well stated. He wants someone to keep watch over my actions.
I consider it an honor to accompany you.
Heinrichs offers you an official bow. Yeah, I'm still not going to state that line. That one's just dumb. What kind of deal are we talking about?
I make no deals, and Emperor forbid that I give you orders. That would mean infringing on your privileges. I'm merely offering well-meaning recommendations and expecting that when the Expanse finds itself in danger, you will break away from your own affairs to heed them.
That is a far more friendly statement than I would have expected. That he's not making deals, he's not giving orders, he's just giving suggestions. Recommendations. Because I'm pretty sure he has the freedom to give me orders. And he could make deals. That's probably his own personal code that he's not making me a deal.
I seem to remember that your exalted aristocrats presented you with many gifts. It would be rude of me not to follow suit.
Also, thinking back, it's odd that he pointed out Adira in my retinue, being an unsanctioned psyker, as proof of what he knows and is accepting of. He hasn't, to my memory, said anything at all about Irliet. And you would think that would be a much bigger problem for him.
Please accept this gift as a sign of my favor. In an hour of need, give it to any faithful servant of the Emperor, and the Inquisition will come to your aid.
Oh. Kalkazar removes a signet ring from his finger and hands it to you. You notice an intricate personal coat of arms on it. Yeah, so the Imperium has various ways of like scanning to prove identification, and rogue traders have, I think, a rosette or some sort of insignia that proves and can be checked to verify that they are Inquisitors. So he's giving us something that proves that we are working for the Inquisition, so that in a time of need, we can call on them. I'm curious about where the game is going, because obviously we can't use this all the time. I'm wondering where the game is going to have this option pop up. Inquisitorial seal, yeah.
The color indicates how close the bearer is to the Lord Inquisitor. Black means that you are a part of the inner circle. Any and all resources will be available to you.
Whoa. Symbol on the signet is black as the void. So he is essentially naming us a member of his inner circle. Like one of his main retinue in his Inquisition. That is a powerful position to be in. Wearer gains plus 40 persuasion and the Inquisitor's tenant ability. This ability can only be used once per combat. We can use this once per combat? Signet of the Inquisition provides beneficial powers. Gain plus 50 momentum. Just instantly. Removes all common negative effects from the wearer and their allies. Does that include burning? Because that's problematic. It probably does. Grants wearer's persuasion divided by 7 temporary wounds. Wearer's persuasion divided by 10% armor. And wearer's persuasion divided by 40 deflection to the wearer and their allies until the end of combat. So we want to give this to someone with high persuasion. sure it removes burning. So my thought is we give this to Cassia, which means that if someone else has already used their greater powers, lowering the momentum, if there's not enough momentum when it gets back to her turn, she can just use this ability, give the momentum, and give us tons of boosts, which sounds really useful. Or, no, at the start of the turn, because she goes first, she could gain 50 momentum, which might push us into the point of being able to use her ability first turn. Yeah. We start at 100, and at 175, we're able to use a heroic power. So this 50 isn't quite enough. Darn. Would be really cool if that could just first turn get her to be able to use it. That's really powerful. Commerce minus 20 would give us a 15% chance. Is this ring all the favor that House von Valancius can expect from the Inquisition? That is a very negative statement that we're almost guaranteed to fail at, so no. Bow your head respectfully. On behalf of my house, I, Ignatius von Valancius, hereby promise and guarantee to offer the Inquisition any assistance it may require. The Emperor protects. Dogmatic. Drop to one knee. Lord Inquisitor, it would be the greatest honor to swear an oath of loyalty to you and join the ranks of the Inquisition. I'm not against it, but that is bold. Smile, I see no reason to refuse such a generous offer. I don't want to have dealings with you, or if you want me as an ally, you can request an audience and repeat everything you just said in public. Do I want to swear an oath of loyalty to the Inquisitor? I'm definitely tempted. I see my character siding with the Inquisitor in basically anything that happens. At least that's how we've handled all dealings with the Inquisition so far, is what they want they get. Because it's the Inquisition. Unless he starts into heresy. In which case then I'd probably break my oath. But I think I'm okay with this. Lord Inquisitor, it would be the greatest honor to swear an oath of loyalty to you and join the ranks of the Inquisition. Not doing so risks a quick case of death. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely giving us a deferential treatment where we are free to do what we want. So he would be fine if we just generally aided him. When he gives us suggestions, we usually do them. We don't need to swear an oath of loyalty to make him happy. To prevent him killing us. Yeah. We're gonna swear an oath of loyalty to him and join the ranks of the Inquisition.
Your zeal is impressive. However, I cannot accept such an oath from you. At least, not now. You will be more useful to the Inquisition in your current position than as a member of my coterie. Nevertheless...
Lord Inquisitor raises one brow, considering your declaration. Yeah, so we can't actually join him as a member of his coterie, because we need to still be a rogue trader. Yay, we're not dead. We haven't even had any fights yet.
This is a gift. A sign that your fervor has not gone unnoticed. Should it remain undiminished, one day this blade will be melted down to make your inquisitorial rosette. Such is the tradition of our conclave.
Wow. The Inquisitor draws a broad blade from his belt. It is engraved with scripture along its length. He proffers the gilded grip to you. Inquisitorial rosette, isn't that only for proper Inquisitors? Not just their coterie. So, like, as an interrogator, Van Calix wouldn't have an Inquisitorial rosette. Basically, he's saying we are on the path to becoming an Inquisitor ourselves. not just a member of his staff. But he's, yeah. That is a very bold statement of trust. That he sees us as potential future Inquisitors. Interrogator's dagger. On a successful hit with this weapon, the target must pass willpower resistance test with a -13 penalty or immediately be moved 4 cells away, provoking attacks of opportunity. Well, that's cool. It's not really something that's useful for us, but it's cool. Dodge reduction 50. See, I could imagine putting that on Abelard, though it feels weird to take this weapon. He's like, this is your weapon of your position, and just give it to one of my underlings. But have Abelard hit someone with the dagger while he and Heinrichs are both grouped up on someone, forcing that person to run away, and them getting attacks of opportunity on it, the whatever enemy. Interesting. Super cool. I approve. As if in confirmation of the Lord Inquisitor's words, Heinrichs brings his hand to his own rosette. Okay. So not that you become an Inquisitor. Unless Heinrichs... He's the Lord Inquisitor. Is Heinrichs considered an Inquisitor as well? He's an interrogator. I didn't know if that meant he is of Inquisitor rank. Light weapon, not what Abelard shines with. Yeah, we don't really have anyone who's going to benefit from a dagger, unfortunately. So, some agents have a seal or token identifying them as a representative of the Inquisition, but not actually an actual rosette. Heinrichs is a proto-Inquisitor, but he has a rosette himself. So, either you can have a rosette without being an Inquisitor, or Heinrichs is an Inquisitor. And in which case, potentially he's not saying that I'm potentially going to be an Inquisitor, but in a similar rank to where Heinrichs is now. Assuming he's not actually an Inquisitor, and just a high-ranking member of the Inquisition, trusted in the Inquisition, but not an Inquisitor themselves. Yes, he's on the fast track. Okay. So Heinrichs has earned a similar fast track. I just don't see how we could ever be an Inquisitor, because we are a rogue trader, and I believe that's for life. I mean, I guess arguably we could. There's no reason we can't pass on the warrant of trade to an heir and then spend the rest of our life as Inquisition, I suppose. If we found someone we trusted to lead the Von Valancius dynasty, well, I suppose.
Here is where we part. My shuttle is waiting. It is time for me to return to my watch, for you to sleep, and for your servant to wake up. Until next we meet.
He glances at the Master of Ceremonies, who is beginning to stir. Junior Inquisitor rather than Proto-Inquisitor? Yeah, so he is technically an Inquisitor, but he's a new low-ranking Inquisitor, just starting out. When interrogators achieve Inquisitorial rank, they get their own rosette. Okay. Makes sense.
Well, you will obviously want to discuss what just happened. But not now, I presume. Right now, it will be better for you to rest and think on the Lord Inquisitor's words in private. I bid you good night, rogue trader.
For the first time during the entire exchange, emotion creeps into Heinrichs' face. Heinrichs? I've already forgotten how they pronounced it. He looks like someone who is expecting an unpleasant conversation. I don't see a need for an unpleasant conversation. That all went down basically how I expected. And I'm not surprised that he made his way unannounced into my chambers to have a secret dialogue with us. None of this is unexpected or negative.
rise of the rogue trader heir restored a tenuous equilibrium to the Fon Valancius Protectorate. For a time, threats subsided, activity returned to trade routes, and reclaimed worlds began to heal. The new Lord Captain's subjects praised the God Emperor and their leader wholeheartedly. For none knew what fate might await them.
Well, that's ominous. Yeah, the animated paper cutout style mini scenes are strange. I don't mind them, but they look to me more like what you would expect for prototyping of what the cutscene will look like in the final game, and then they just left them in. Because they have cutscenes where they're rendered in-game, and the camera flies around and you see things happening. And then periodically they toss in those black and white cutscenes, and each time I'm like, why wasn't this rendered in-game? It's fine, it gives the point across, it just seems like an odd choice to me. You spent the first few hours of your morning listening to the High Factotum's lengthy report on the latest trade exchanges, arrangements, disputes, and countless bureaucratic procedures. From outside the illuminated, tightly closed windows, you can hear the muffled sounds of Dargonis and its everyday life, a life that has been passing you by lately, as you have been preoccupied with the affairs of your protectorate from dawn till dusk. Variety is nice, true. Thanks for the follow. Clementia barely contains a yawn. Once Janus Janrock has finished, she pulls out her data slate. Thank you for your report, High Factotum. Your work is highly appreciated, both by everyone here and the Adeptus Administratum. Your Lordship, we are almost done here. We just need to go over the final items on today's agenda that I would like to report to you personally. Truly, the God Emperor has blessed me with diligent subjects. Speak. I've lost track of how long I've been trapped on Dargonis for the good of the Protectorate. Hurry up, I better hear some good news today. Next. We're not going to insult them. The God Emperor has blessed me with diligent subjects. Speak. Allow me to pass on gifts from your loyal subjects, the high nobility of Dargonis. It goes without saying that every living soul in your Protectorate is blessed to serve your Lordship faithfully and wholeheartedly. However, this humble gesture is meant as a token of deepest appreciation of your magnanimity toward their esteemed families. Also, I'm sure that was a time jump. I'm curious how much time has jumped. How long we've been ruling the Protectorate from Dargonis now. We gain 4 crates of Mechanicus creations. Okay. House Gaprak has sent shuttles carrying sacred technologies and manufactured parts that can be used to replace old joints and connections within mechanisms. The machine spirits of these devices have been pacified. They are slumbering peacefully, and as they await your decision on how to employ their capabilities. As well as 9 holy gifts. House Sauerbach has arranged for several regiments of expertly trained servants of the Emperor to be transferred to your personal command. Each of them will also serve as an honor guard for the holy relics that are to find their rightful place in the hold of your personal void ship. She stops, staring at her data slate in surprise. Is something wrong? Why is that yellow? Did I hear you quite right? Macarius Sauerbach is sending me gifts, correct? Is something wrong? No, not at all, your lordship. The people and the cargo have indeed reached the port services, so there is no reason to doubt the sincerity of the house's intentions. It's just such substantial and valuable gifts coming from Lord Sauerbach. Clementia trails off. New take on the 12 days of Imperium. 9 holy gifts. Yep. Danik lets out an amused chuckle. If I am to venture a guess, your lordship, I believe the esteemed chancellor was staggered by such an irregular display of generosity from a man who is rather known for voicing his doubts in rogue traders as a class. It would seem you have made quite an impression on Macarius, the old miser. So that could finally be him responding to us, giving him a point of prestige of our ceremony. Okay. Because certainly during the ceremony when we were talking to everyone, he did not seem to in any way comment on the fact that we gave him an esteemed position in the ceremony. And I was like, well, we shouldn't have chosen him, clearly. Lord Captain, news of particular import has come from the House's intelligence network. Lord Inquisitor Calcazar is rumored to be planning a visit to Footfall. A number of Imperial Navy ships were commandeered by Lord Calcazar, and they are also being scrambled to Footfall. Furthermore, we have received reports claiming that secret messages were delivered to the capital worlds of House Corda and Winterscale. It is possible the Lord Inquisitor call to arms may smother the conflict that is brewing between the two dynasties. We are seeing an increasing number of skirmishes between their ships in neutral systems. I do not doubt that her ladyship, Corda, will attempt to sway the Lord Inquisitor to her side. Especially since his lordship Winterscale's luck seems to be running out. Riots have broken out on several of his worlds, and yet he has shown no intention of quelling them. Instead, the rogue trader inflicted brutal punishment upon one of his oldest colonies, Vesuvia Secundus, based on allegations of seditious sentiment. Oddly enough, our agents were unable to find any proof of sedition among the populace there. As soon as we have any updates, you'll be the first to know, your lordship. Clementia glances down at her data slate. Lastly, your pet Xenos. Oh man, your pet Xenos, Iliad, I believe, is seeking a meeting with you. She had the audacity to defile the rogue trader's palace with her profane presence and refuses to leave until she has spoken with you. I would never presume to be able to read the emotions of Xenos, but the Eldari appears perturbed. I believe she mentioned a voidship of some sort. It may be best if she told you everything directly. Sounds like you don't like that I have a Xenos here. I'm getting that slight vibe. And with that, please allow me and Master Danrock to take our leave. The Chancellor and the High Factotum offer you their bows. Perhaps the last request will serve as a welcome distraction. Indeed, your lordship's stay on Dargonis has been rather long. However, your protectorate is now enjoying a period of relative stability that, for the time being, no longer demands your lordship's personal involvement in its affairs. Glory to the rogue trader. I wonder, with the other rogue traders sort of losing control of their dynasties, are we going to start branching out into their territory to stabilize them and possibly conquer them? That'd be an interesting direction for this to take. All right. Where do we go now? So we need to find Irliet. And I'm sure she's not back here, but I'm going to check if anyone is. And they're not. Presumably she is just hanging out directly outside. Not directly outside. Let's look at our map. See where everyone's at. Oh, she's hanging out. No, she is right here, supposedly. Right next to us. And then the rest of our crew is inside there. There's... Oh, I thought that was loot. I was like, there's loot in the palace right now? How did we miss that? Okay. So yeah, let's talk to our crew and the two named NPCs. Where are you, Irliet? You show up directly here. Are you downstairs? Oh, hello. She just teleported in. Elentalk, at last you have left your ornate cage. Irliet casts a look over the stone palace walls. For many a turn I have sought to meet you, and yet your servant, the one who is like the silver-haired Abelard, but twice as young and has no favor for the requests of a child of Asurian. Take me to a place where the hearing of others will not steal the words intended for you. Okay. While you were mending the wounds of this world left by the Twisted One's attack, I was able to discover, no, not Krudarok's fate, merely traces of it. As Moran found sanctuary under the boughs of the Lelathan's forest, so did my other kin find refuge in a system known as the Atlas Reach. We must make a journey there with haste, before new dangers destroy the witnesses who can show me the way to the lost Krudarok, whose fate remains shrouded by the stars. Iliad focuses her piercing gaze on you. Their knowledge is the sole thread that may lead me to the truth, Elentok. I ask that your metal-winged ship take me along that thread before it tears under the strain of time and circumstance. Are you able to get to contact those Eldari? No, I did not contact the Asuriani. I have no means to do so, but I had enough time to explore the stone jungle of your world while you were preoccupied with your urgent matters. The path of the outcast has taught me to observe and listen to the world around me. In this case, the throngs of Monkey at the port, errant conversations, rumors, chance words, like part of a speckled mosaic, they came together to form a hazy image. My kin were seen in the Atlas Reach, and now all we have to do is pull at the web of connections and possibilities to uncover whatever is concealed from the unseeing eye. Give me the coordinates and I shall take you wherever you wish to go. Discuss it another time, or Krudarok's fate is no concern of mine. No, give me the coordinates and I shall take you wherever you wish to go. You will? The ice in Iliad's eyes melts away for a moment. Thank you, Elentok. If this path indeed takes me to the truth, I will be indebted to you. A rare happening between our kinds. So yeah, we've reached presumably a new chapter. It still shows we have a chapter 2 quest. I have no clue where we'd go to further that. But yes, we've moved into chapter 3 now. We gain new contracts. It looks like we have Tools of Righteousness. They want 9 weapons and will give us 3 mobile extractiums. Weapons are rare, but mobile extractiums are also rare, though currently we have, I think, like 12 of them or something. So I don't think this is strictly needed now, but it's one I will probably do at some point. Intend on bringing the world of iniquity to Imperial compliance. Incendia Corda is facing a prolonged campaign to weed out the planet's blasphemous elements. She will pay a generous price for the formidable steel giants of Kiavagama, vested in holy armor and armed with the Emperor's righteous fury. Small Thorn. Lower our profit factor to gain 5 adamantine. That could be good as well because we only have 1. A Lamesta 1 trading outpost has been causing problems for Dargona's trade for years by attracting merchants arriving from a number of systems, including those from the mining world of Flactica. If only some pirate were motivated enough to blast this station with torpedoes. No! Ugh. Someone is doing trade that's taking resources from us where we'd want them. So spend 3 profit to remove that other trade. I don't know about that. Or void beacons. A network of void beacons allows void ships to navigate the Protectorate in greater safety. Takes Promethium and people. Easily spendable in both cases. They give us 3 security everywhere, 3 efficiency everywhere, and 3 profit factor. So this is the idea that Abelard's great-granddaughter had, and we will complete it right away. That was not very costly, and it gives tons of good bonuses. Now, back out to talking to people. I think all of them are in the palace. Yes. Abelard's somewhere over here. There you are. While we're on Dargonas, I will check the Secretary's reports and keep an eye on logisticians. Master Danark does his job well, but a little scrutiny goes a long way with him. Open door. Oh, that goes out to our ship. Okay. No need to go there. Heinrichs. The lack of observers on this world has led your nobles to become extremely complacent. Today alone, I overheard 3 statements that, if I so warranted, could be turned into grounds for a charge of heresy. Nothing from you. Clementia. Nothing new from you. Dira. Ah, good old Dargonus. It's boring here without Lady Theodora. She loved to liven up this sleepy little place with a couple of crazy decrees and public floggings of flabbergasted nobles. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be doing that. Sorry. Pascal, what do you got to say? My appearance has caused a slight disturbance in the ranks of the servants of the Omnissiah assigned to the palace. Analysis of the performance of rituals and maintenance litanies has produced a satisfactory result. Cassia. My compliments to your taste in art. The collection here is extensive and most interesting. I think that's everyone. Yep. So I guess we are ready to head back to the ship and see what's changed in the time that we have. Don't close the door. Go out through the door. Yeah, let's go back to the bridge. Find out what's changed. I'm assuming we have new areas we can go to on the map. Hopefully I don't have to rescan every single edge system to see if new things pop up, because that would be tedious. Since we've already scanned all those regions, it should just show connections, I would hope. We could go around again talking to everyone. I'm probably not going to bother since we did that at the start of the stream, even though things probably have changed. I am now ready to replace the painting of Lady Theodora in my chambers. I was waiting until we had officially gone through the ceremony to become a rogue trader, and we have done so. John bows obsequiously. It will be done, your lordship. Do we want to try talking to one person just to see if there's new dialogue? Abelard.
Lord Captain.
You have no new dialogue, so probably no one else does either. Alright. With that in mind, let's go to the map. Oh, we should probably also look at our colonies, because now that we're in Chapter 3, maybe we have new options. Not the ship. That was not the button I wanted. That one. So yeah, rank 3 is still the max, it seems. We have a quest that says get them to the highest rank. So clearly this can't be the highest rank. Otherwise we should have already passed that. Janus completed something, so we got some stimulants. Fine. We could do the reaping. Not even the sprawling agri-complexes of Janus can cover the whole planet's fertile expanse. Gargantuan tracked mega-harvesters will come to their aid. They will wander the planet for months, each one operated by its assigned clan of serfs who are born, live, and die in the bowels of these great machines. These giants will reap harvests with their toothed jaws, break open the soil with their plasteel plows, and drink the swampy lowlands dry with their thirsty hydropumps, spewing the water forth down upon the arid hills. Okay, so we completed giants. Somewhere else. Kiava Gamma, we completed giants, which now makes this possible. It'll cost us 3 plasteel, which is fine, and 1 promethium, which is also fine, to give us 1 profit factor and provisions. We don't really need the provisions, but I'm going to do this anyway. We might as well. Dargonus, anything new with you? Restoration, nope. We've got everything unlocked with you that we can currently. Vibo 6 is done. Kiava Gamma. is also as good as we can get it at the moment. Cool. Do I see any new systems we can go to? 1. Atlas Reach. Which we can see a dangerous route to get there. Am I seriously going to have to go to all the edges and scan to see what new things pop up? When they did give me 49 points. Seems really time consuming. I doubt all of our expansion for Chapter 3 is going to branch out of Atlas Reach. That seems crazy. Particularly considering we might not have brought Iliad with us or sent her out of our crew. But I guess we have nowhere else to go, so let's start making our way that way. Let's see. For the duration of the voyage, they heard laughter. It seemed to come from outside through the airtight seal. Then we were set free. We gained 2 profit factor. From what? And yeah, we can't scan for new locations. So is there not going to be any map expansion in this chapter, except for a couple of handful of quests? Hard to believe. But maybe the game didn't expect me to do literally everything in every system before moving on to Chapter 3. Alright, let's spend 2 points to make this unsafe. And then we will head to Atlas Reach. Not do everything in every available system? Nonsense. Yeah. Lord Captain, according to our telemetry, we've arrived at the coordinates you specified. The augurs do not register any activity on the surface of the local planets, biological or otherwise, but maybe the xenos are using their arcane technology to conceal their presence. Despite this, the augur crew managed to locate a faint signal at the system's edge. According to their data, it is coming from an unidentified vessel drifting in the orbit of a local gas giant. I mean, could that be what... It's like, augurs don't register anything. But we do find a ship. It's like, well, that's probably them. My kin could have been faced with a new threat. Scavengers like pirates, or something worse. If they were taken prisoner, Iliad's voice is trembling with something that could be either anger or fear. I am begging you, Alantok, let us go to the shuttle. I cannot feel that the thread of fate is frayed and is about to snap. I can feel that the thread of fate has frayed and is about to snap. I cannot miss what may be the only chance to solve the mystery behind the disappearance of my home. So that's the vessel in question. We have weird space dust here. Let's scan the planets first, as we always do. We have 19 extractiums now. We don't need plasteel. But with that many extractiums, I might as well use them. 19 is crazy. So yeah, let's extract 5 more plasteel that we don't need. And grab whatever this is. Some random loot. We'll go to the asteroid. Lord Captain, there's an unusual cluster of binary asteroids before us, rich in rare metals and valuable minerals. They are moving in a fairly stable orbit, which suggests the possibility of constructing a mining station inside the drift. Is that this? Because I didn't get an option for... Ooh, mining for 12 adamantine. Now that is worth it. That is super worth it. We are no longer running low on adamantine. Let's go up here to the space dust. Lord Captain, reporting. Our void ship has passed through a cloud of cosmic dust of unknown origin. Unfortunately, the dust particles were covered with an icy shell that is frozen into a thick sheet on the void ship's hull, blocking some of the technical vents. It will take time for the servitors to clear the ice. Until then, our maneuverability will be somewhat reduced. Interesting. Is that like an ongoing condition with my ship? Oh, also, did we get new things? They said I thought someone at the ceremony said they were going to be giving us some ship parts. No, these are all things we've had. So it must have been just dialogue and not actually giving me anything. And I didn't see anything up there about us having reduced ship capability. Gained plasma batteries. Okay. And lastly, the Chartist vessel. Let's see what your story is. Oh. Okay. So this is actually going into a situation where we have to bring our crew. Obviously, Irlia is required to go. And she'll slot in for Argenta, which is fine. And I think we'll just go with that. We'll have to level her up. We need to see, of the various items we got, which ones I want to give out, because we haven't done any of that yet. So if we go to inventory, our newest things, if we go to Irliet, how does this rifle compare? It is better in every way. Alright, you can take this. Plus 15 to awareness. I was thinking about that for Cassia. Right now she has... Whenever an ally under the effects of the wearer's voice of command ability makes an attack during an extra turn, the attack deals an additional 27% damage. No, I think I'm going to keep that. You don't need the bonus 15 to awareness, since her awareness is already 122. Immaculate Servo Skull. Servo Skull is designed to spread the glory and splendor of its mighty owner. Is that just a replacement?
Not my specialty.
Huh.
I'll pass.
I mean, it's showing red that we can't use it. If I unequipped you... Can I not unequip? Can I not? Yes. Now we can put that one on. It's weird that I can't just replace it. If your awareness is over 100, you must be seeing things in severe detail, right? Gotta be tiring. Yeah. Okay. Persuasion. Who is my best persuasion? I wish there was an easy way to see. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Cassia. Almost certain, but I'm going to check. Yeah, not surprisingly, it's Cassia. Let's switch out your Auspex. So, her awareness went down to 112, unfortunately, but plus 40 persuasion and the Inquisitor's Tenant ability, which is super powerful. What else did we pick up? The dagger, I don't think I'm going to have anyone use. And that, yeah. I think we're good. Now, level up. Let's max out our Bounty Hunter. I have nothing marked. So we could do characteristics. I could give her Drukhari weapon proficiency. Just so she has the option to use those weapons. I don't know. None of those really strike me as terribly important. I could just boost her ballistic skill. And I think I shall. Then you get your final ability as a bounty hunter. Prior to the attack, all prey suffers a penalty to armor until the end of combat. Gains an agility bonus to movement points and restores 3 charges to hunt down the prey. All prey has its movement points reduced by agility bonus, but no less than 2. What's your perception? You have a really good perception, so something that's based on perception is better than things based on agility. So in this case, you'll be reducing enemies' armor by 24%. It's not bad. Pretty soon we're going to be moving to Exemplar. It's weird that these two tiers, we've had a lot of variety between what everyone chooses, but then everyone filters to Exemplar for the last archetype. But I think I'm going to leave this here. It's a few minutes earlier than I would normally end a stream, but it seems like the right time rather than trying to progress partway through this situation, whatever it is, because I'm assuming this will take a while. So, makes more sense to stop here and start up next stream with this. Yeah, thanks for being here, Pomegranate. Main pie is full. I'll see you guys next week when we continue on. Bye.